expectation and what's actually feasible from NVIDIA, right? Law of large numbers just means, yeah, it's very impressive to continue seeing this growth here, right? So although growth is maybe slowing just a little bit, right? Not crazy, but slowing just a little bit, not really a surprise when you get into these 40 billion quarter over quarter, right? Kind of crazy. All right, enough about NVIDIA. Obviously, we're going to see more of it here in the top headlines this morning, but let's stick with the top line figures, courtesy of CNBC first, and let's continue along through the analysis. Before we get into the top line figures, actually, let's scroll up here. We had some things happening in the chat that we should acknowledge. We had Peter Z joining as a floor trader, as well as Dave Greer. Welcome both to the crew. We also saw, as I scrolled down a little bit, Ference with the 5 gifted, very generous on a Thursday morning. And then as I go even deeper, I think I saw, where is it? There we go. Chris K with the 499. I think part of the point on NVIDIA is that a constant $2 billion beat and raise becomes a smaller and smaller perch over time. Yes. Yeah, I mean, that is true, right? If you're continuing to grow and you keep the 2 billion stable, right, it represents a smaller percentage point. And the hurdle is, air quotes, easier to get over every single time. So interesting stuff for sure. Percentage of, yeah, perch. I was thinking perch is in like a hurdle, but yes, indeed. Absolutely indeed. Elizabeth Scott asking, or sorry, Stott. That is not a C, that is a T. What's the PE of NVIDIA now? I don't know. Someone can find it in the chat and put it in there. We're in a market that has not cared about PE ratios for a very long time, I would say, at this point, or at least trying to trade or invest based on like, okay, what's a reasonable low PE that we can get a good deal on? That's right. Where's the classic picture of the, someone throwing out the book, The Intelligent Investor, right into the trash? That's the market we're in currently. We have, who was it? Dawson joining as a floor trader, and then Geo continues the streak here with the 49.99 in the chat. Up 50K for the month. Cleared out my negatives from last year. Thanks, Matt. Well, hey, again, we've said it over and over again this week, but that's on you. You come here to the show, you get the levels and such, but for the most part, it's all your execution. You got to love it. You absolutely got to love it. AI Go Duke. We've got 1 gifted membership. There you go. Very generous again. Appreciate that. All right, let's get to the top line figures. We've got 8:20 on the clock, and we're not even on the S&P 500. Oof. It's all right. We have jobless claims at 8:30, and we have GDP as well. We have NVIDIA earnings to talk about. So there's a lot going on. Top line figures, courtesy of CNBC. What do we see? The Dow futures are up 25 basis points. S&P futures 62 basis points. NASDAQ futures 82 basis points in the upward direction. It looks like things are getting some love on the sort of update from NVIDIA. As we look at the oil futures, they are up 121 basis points, but still well below 70 bucks. I shouldn't say well below, but they are below 70 bucks a barrel. At 69.45 in the US 10-year is creeping slowly in the upward direction. I wouldn't even say that this is like hardly even a counter trend move. We have 4.283 on the actual yield itself. So anything surprising here? No, I'd say that for the most part, we're getting a little bit of sympathy on the sort of second half of NVIDIA's earnings move, which is unfolding probably right now as I'm speaking to you, or at least over the last 20 minutes or so, getting a little bit of a ramp in the upward direction there. Let's take a look at the big headlines this morning. NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang says that AI has to do now 100 times more computation now than when GPT was first released. I think that the headline here is written poorly. I think that they could have simplified this by saying multimodal AI demands more computational resources, period. If CNBC wants to contract me, we know that the contracts are going to be worth billions as a headline writer, but something along those lines would have been much simpler to understand. And yes, the point does stand, which is that, and Jensen addressed this on the earnings call, right? He expects continued growth because as you get into different modalities, you're dealing with different data types. I mean, obviously, image-text pairs, huge, right? As you get into vision language models, obviously, audio starts to bring in some different things. Video, action models. There's a ton of this stuff. So, and a lot of that sort of starts to mesh together. But generally speaking, the more robust or multimodal a model is, the more training data you need to make it actually do what you want, I'm sure. So again, not going to sit here and try to become an AI expert, and I don't know all of the ins and outs, but at a high level, that's true. NVIDIA's auto segment revenue surges to a record high on demand for driver assist tech. There you go. We were just talking about the automotive segment there, which was up impressively over 100% year over year. NVIDIA delivered earnings that beat expectations, yes, but sort of in line, in my view, with expectations, really. Amazon touts its first quantum computing chip a week after Microsoft's unveiling. This is just like, it's not funny. It just kind of is what it is, but I mean, it's like one comes out, the next has to come out. All these people try to stay relevant, and if there's truly a breakthrough, then like awesome. Quantum will, pull forward a ton of computational resource or high demanding what would you say? It will pull forward a bunch of problems basically, or it will start solving a bunch of problems that demand an insane amount of computation. Is that a good thing for humanity, a bad thing for humanity? Probably leans towards better, as long as it's in the right hands, right? And we've talked about how, like, your Joe Schmo hacker guy isn't going to get his hands on a quantum chip here to start breaking passwords and all sorts of stuff in the blink of an eye. That's not how it works. Anyways, what else is going on here? 25% tariffs. They're back, baby. Tariffs are back. So just continuing to keep an open mind for volatility based on announcements from the administration. It's been a little bit quiet, but it seems as though, and we've said this over the past couple of days, the tariff talk could be resuming. What else is happening here? Stock-specific stuff. Let's zoom in. Let's take a look at the little headlines. Let's make them big. Goldman Sachs gets a downgrade from KBW, which says the bank is too expensive at the moment. So financials banks in particular, I'm thinking JP Morgan as well, are pulling back, and maybe there's a buying opportunity over time. We'll see. Federal Reserve's favorite recession indicator, ooh, there's that dirty R word again, flashing a danger sign. That is the PCE. Well, that's not the recession indicator, but PCE is coming out on Friday. Let's actually click into this article and see what they're dubbing as it. Yeah, the 10-year yield has passed below the 3-month note, so it's the inversion of the yield curve, right? It's back to being inverted. We've been dealing with an inverted yield curve for a while now. It started to revert, if you will, over the last little bit and is now back to inverted. So interesting stuff there. FDA cancels a vaccine advisory meeting for choosing flu strains over the next seasoned shots. No comment. What else is happening here? Stock-specific stuff. Let's continue along. Let's look for something stock-specific. So, NVIDIA earnings, Salesforce misses on revenue, issues disappointing guidance. So, no good over there. Let's continue along. What else? Stock-specific stuff. Teladoc shares tumble. That was sort of a lackluster name anyhow. It was like a big, sickness pop and drop and fade off into oblivion when your normal doctor can just fire up a Zoom call themselves and you don't need to go through this here. What else is happening? Stock-specific stuff. Chevron in the news. Cloud analytics from Snowflake. Snowflake had a very positive earnings report. They also reported last night. There was a couple of honorable mentions, right? It was NVIDIA, the top dog, and then you, of course, had Snowflake and CRM as honorable mentions. Amazon unveils a revamped Alexa with AI for $19.99 per month, free for Prime members. Imagine that. Imagine paying. I mean, I don't know. What? Yeah, I mean, like $19.99, not the end of the world, but what is this thing going to do that I can't just, like, look up on my phone? Why do I have to talk to a little disc? I don't know. I never fell into the whole idea of like, oh, I love my smart home and all my connected devices and like, Alexa, turn off the lights in the movie theater or whatever, or like, turn the heat up to what, like, walk over to the thermostat and press the button. It's not that hard. I don't know. The smart home thing, maybe I'm living in the past, but not a fan. Meta says it fixed an error after Instagram users reported a flood of pretty graphic and violent content, apparently. Reddit co-founder says Meta's end to third-party fact-checking is very pragmatic. Salesforce syncs, dozens of Doge receipts, credit card-sponsored slot. Lucid CEO is departing, right? We talked about that yesterday on the earnings call. Anyhow, that's a quick tour, maybe not even that quick, but that's a quick look through the headlines this morning. I would say that NVIDIA and let's go over to, let's see if we can't fire up the earnings calendar. Let's go to earnings whispers, earnings. Where is it? Come on, give it to me, earnings whispers. There we go. The calendar is pretty quiet here from now on, right? This was the main event. This this is maybe interesting. And in about 3 minutes, actually getting closer to 2 minutes, we get our jobless claims and the GDP number. After the close today, SoundHound, Dell, honorable mentions to Rocket Lab, Archer, Clover. You're definitely going to have some retail watching that as the day comes to a close. Fubo is maybe worth a watch before the open on Friday, but that is going to put an end. Nice little bow on top of the earnings season, and then we fall into a little bit of a lull before the next quarter picks up already. And with that, I think it's time to do what we do best. It is time to do what we do best. Shall we? Shall we jump on over? I think we shall. It's time to take a look at the ES futures through the lens of the 4-hour time frame chart. Are you ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, zoom. And there it is. We're taking a look. We are on the ES 4-hour time scale, of course, with about a minute and a half to go until the jobless claims come out. It's feeling good. It's looking good on the 4-hour time frame chart. One of the acknowledgments from last night's episode of the midweek market update was simply that as long as price remains underneath on the futures, it's slightly different than the cash market, and we'll talk about this. As long as price remains either underneath this level or this level right here at 60.45 or 6,000 flat, the bears are in control for a lower high. Remember that this is representative of overhead supply. It's really this as we sort of eliminate. This is including after hours data, so it looks like you have this big, interaction here and here. Those are the after hours sessions. For the most part, the interactions, the transactions that took place, and you could do this with a market profile, is simply all of the positions are held from this box here, which, as we know, is 60.45. Let's say 60.45 on the 4-hour time frame chart. We've got 30 seconds to go. JC, our senior news correspondent, is going to get us covered with the GDP numbers, the initial jobless claims, the continuing jobless claims, and we'll take a look at that reaction in real time. Okay? So for the most part, ES, let's just use this upper limit as the line in the sand. So long as price is sub 60.45, I really don't think you have anything more impressive than just like bearish consolidation in the lower 50 percentile of this. You're setting up some sort of like break, lower high underneath, and possible continuation in the downward direction. Okay, so that's your higher time frame view. Obviously on the hourly time frame chart, as we zoom into this, I think it's very reasonable that we might start calling for, okay, if this is going to be a double bottom, what does that require? It just requires price acceptance over the previous day's high. Over the previous day's high. And 8:30 numbers are out. 8:30 numbers are out. We have jobless claims, initial and continuing, as well as GDP. We'll see what the durable goods as well. I forgot about durable goods. Good call from Ayush in the chat here. What do we have? Initial jobless claims, actual. Oh, buckle up, baby. We've got 242. 242 versus the forecast at 221 on the update there. Wow. That is a hot print on the jobless claims. So two twisted ways to look at that. Number one is that obviously that's not going to bode well for an unemployment recession, right? As we see jobless claims ticking in the upward direction. I think pairing this, like in theory, it means the Fed gets to cut rates sooner rather than later, right? So maybe that's bullish for equities, but have we seen that be the case over the last week? The answer is no. The answer is no. As we take a look at some others, we have continued jobless claims at 1.862. Forecast was 1.870, so slightly below expectations there, which is good. That's going to help out a little bit. As we think about the GDP, the actual at 2.3, forecast 2.3, coming in at expectations there. Thank you, JC. And then we have durable goods at 4 coming in at flat, 0. Forecast 0.3. Ooh, okay. So I think that the bottom line here is the uptick in the jobless claims is pretty important. I think that as the market continues to price in more aggressive rate cuts from the Fed, so long as price action looks weak, you're not getting there's the R word. I hate to do it, but it's in the conversation. It's in our vocabulary. We are integrating it into the vernacular of the stream over the next little bit here. The jobless claims, if they go off the hook, let's just actually, I'm going to go over that chart actually so I can tell you what I mean by off the hook. Let's take a look over here. This is not the window we want. Let's jump into, where is it? Here. And let's take a look at, so of course, here is the numbers as reported by JC in the chat. We appreciate that. But we want the graph here to actually take a peek at. I would say like things, why is the chart not updated? The chart is not updated. The chart is not updated. If I do this, will it refresh? Yes, it will. There we go. So there's your miss on the jobless claims. Look at that thing. Just an absolute eyesore on the chart. What do I mean by off the hook? We've talked about it before. Over 250. Over 250 on the weekly jobless claims gets dangerous. You're probably starting to deal with the R word in a much more serious fashion if you see sustained weekly claims over 250, which in theory would continue to allow the continuing claims to stay higher and elevated as well, right? So, not trying to be a perma bear. You guys know me. I'm usually dubbed the perma bull of YouTube, so we'll take that in stride. But just sort of talking about some of these warning shots that are starting to come across the bow. I typically would consider myself pretty unbiased in the read of the data points, and this definitely sides a little bit more so with recession. As we take a look at the GDP prints, 2.3 is not the end of the world. It's definitely a slowdown relative to what we've seen over the last little bit, right? We've seen some very strong GDP numbers through the last couple of quarters outside of maybe 2022. For the most part, really, really strong numbers starting to slow down until they're actually negative. I don't know necessarily that we are like, okay, like let's panic and everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket, right? So we're watching for the slowdown. We want to sort of preemptively be ahead of the curve there just in terms of understanding the environment, but I don't think that we want to jump the gun and say crash, recession. It's like here, right now, right? We're watching these things. We're starting to wave the white flag a little bit, but I think all in due time, So jobless claims are the big deal. Let's get back on over to the market. Let's go through the 15-minute time frame chart. Let's see what we can see from this perspective here. And also, I think that we've got to scroll up a little bit. Where is it? We got to give some. We always give the honorable mentions when they're due. Benjamin K. joining as a floor trader. Welcome to the crew. It's a pleasure to have you up here in the office. Looking very professional in that icon there. So let's continue along to our S&P 500 analysis on the smaller time frames. We talked about how possibly, right, we have possibly this going on. And some people are bringing up great points in the chat here. You have jobless claims from federal workers, right, and Doge sort of cleaning house, if you will. You also have just seasonality-wise, February is never really a good month. It's like, okay, let's get through the holidays and then let's lay people off. So February starts to see a little bit of an uptick there. So definitely some bits of seasonality there that are worth talking about. So for sure. Victor says there ain't nothing indicating a recession. We're not there yet, but again, I think that the point of the analysis thus far is much more to say like, okay, let's just be cognizant of the white flags that are starting to pop up here and there, right? So more breakups too from Image Word. Yes. So we're keeping these things top of mind. Again, I'm not saying that a recession is here, right now. It's, again, meant to be a warning shot across the bow. It's coming into our vocabulary. We're going to start talking about it and monitoring these data points a little bit more firmly. Okay? Cleaning house or burning house. Yeah, maybe I should have been a little bit more careful with my words. It depends on your viewpoint. I think there's definitely some things that should change, but sometimes the method of going about it isn't always the best. So let's take a sip of coffee and continue along. There's definitely some aspects where, you know what, I'm actually not even going to get into it. It's not the point. It doesn't help with our S&P analysis, so I will keep that to myself, and, we'll just move along. If this, if they've been saying recession for 4 years, or WTF, I haven't been saying recession for 4 years. We've been talking about maybe some cautious data points, but I've not been calling for a recession. I think anybody who is like aggressively bearish the S&P with the recession thesis, not really great, right? Anyone who's like, okay, don't participate in the S&P 500 because a recession is here on our doorstep, and oh my God, after 2022, everybody thought the market, continuing to crash, it's going to be the worst market in the world. Oh my God, I can't believe what's going on, right? Everybody who is calling for big Armageddon back here, we were talking about the monthly higher low thesis. Everybody remembers the mole, right? Monthly higher low, the mole thesis, right? Hold up over the neckline of the inverted head and shoulders. Great. Anybody who missed this rally from A to B, just not paying attention to the technicals, right? If you're looking at this rally and you're like, wow, I didn't participate because I thought a recession was coming, it's the wrong way to trade. As we start to talk about the possibility of the R word up here, we're not sort of like saying market's crashing yet. And we talked about this last night. I tried to be very proactive in my approach of saying if the weekly is going to flip over, we know that we have to take out the neckline closer to 580, and we're just not there yet. So higher time frame still doing all right. Not trying to suggest a market crashes here, just trying to be very objective through the data points, looking at what we have in front of us. Jobless claims are ticking higher, rates are forecast to be cut more aggressively than anticipated before, and yet small caps, let's take a look at IWM, is continuing to underperform here. So it has to raise the question, what is going on? Why is the bond market continuing along, right? Why is the bond market starting to get some lift here? If you take a look at the short interest in the TLT, the short interest in the TLT is actually at the highest levels it's been in a very long time. I'm not saying there has to be a miraculous squeeze. Oh my God, this thing's going to 150 or whatever the local high is. Let's go way back on this. I'm not saying we got to go to 170 in the blink of an eye, but it certainly would make sense that some upside lift here could take place if there is a flight to safety R-word fear, right? So anyhow, none of this is really okay, what are the trades that are available for today's session? We're talking about the environment that we're operating in. So let's get back to being granular on the ES 1 hour time frame chart. That's your context bit. That's your higher time frame fundamental mat hat for today's session. As we get granular, what's happening here? What do we care about for this morning's open? 6,000 still an absolute must-watch level. And again, the exercise that we've been doing the past couple of sessions is to really look at the extended hours turned off, and you can just see how clear this is, right? 6,000 straight through here, very obvious level. Previous resistance acted as support, once we got above it, acted as support in the lower wicks over here. You can see it acted as support on, what was that, Monday's session, and into the close as well. It then failed, and now we're sort of rejecting near the level. We did get a little bit of early morning acceptance attempted over that yesterday, but if we stay below 6,000 today, what does it do? All of this is overhead supply, and the argument I was just making is more so that a majority of transactions actually took place over 60.45. So 60.45 is absolutely still a key level for the S&P 500. This lower high underneath really doesn't do anything other than suggest exactly that. You have a bearish, let's put this box back in here to make this a bit more visual. Let's actually bring this down a little bit on the volume as well. Not my voice volume, but the volume on the chart. There we go. This is a little bit more front and center, a little bit easier on the eyes. This is absolutely, right, brigade bolt to the downside, right, underneath the bottom end of the range. Now, again, it wasn't a precise touch there to the 60.40 level. I'm not saying that oh, it was a no-brainer short at the high of day yesterday. No, we were technically trying to see acceptance over 6,000. So 60.45 would have been the better short opportunity. Market never really got there, but where did we close? Back down underneath the level. So if this is going to turn into a double bottom, right, we of course know that we probably just need to be through this. We need to be 60.45 or above to be confident that, okay, this is holding as a set of higher lows, and we'll seek continuation in the upward direction. So that is what we've got there at 60.45. 60.45, okay? So far, the trend on the hourly remains down. You have highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. You have lows, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. Maybe you're starting to get a little bit of a higher low indication. We talked about this yesterday. We're 59.65. 59.65, if we were to get consolidation here, maybe builds that out, in which case we'll still keep an open mind to the counter trend into 60.45. So that's a lot of fives. We have 60, we have 6,000, we have 60.45, we have 59.65. A lot of fives going on there. Let's go down to the 15-minute time frame chart. Let's get more granular here. Let's build a game plan for today's session. Let's lock and load. I'm sort of at a point right now with February where I almost just want it to be over. We've just got 2 trading days left in February, so we'll see what happens here over the next little bit. But solid trade setups only. No B plus. No dilly dallying around with oh, maybe it's a setup, maybe it's not. What's the game plan here on the ES? What's the A plus interaction that we're looking for in terms of the path? Let's see. If we do something that looks like this, we can all see 6,000. We can see the prior lows. We can see the rejection. We can see that we tried to accept above, and then the market failed pretty harshly back underneath. With the 830 numbers, we got a little bit of a push to the downside below 6,000, but it seems as though the market is rallying back above that level as of right now. So as I'm thinking about the 15-minute in relationship to the past couple of days, I would have thought opening down here, and this is sort of where my mind was at for the episode of the midweek market update last night, Wednesday, this would have been very bearish. Very, very bearish if we just opened sort of flat in here underneath primarily the opening print of the prior day's session. So the fact that we're opening above that closer to 6,000, maybe it's not as cautiously bearish as I was talking about in the midweek market update video. I still would not be a big bull here, and I don't think that the market's like out of the woods. I think there are some decent first steps that are starting to unfold where you have this higher low that's forming here from the hourly perspective, but I would say that it needs to be some sort of acceptance over 60.45 before the market is like, quote, out of the woods from a more clean perspective. We're just not there yet. So what does that mean for today's session? Well, let's take a look. Oops, let's zoom. Let's not just drag the chart around. Do we need to auto zoom? I think we do. Let's try that again. There we go. So what does it mean for today's session? What does it mean in terms of the 3.5 questions? What are the exact setups that we're looking for here, and how do we participate in this wild thing we call the market? Well, question number 1 tells us that we're obviously opening inside of range. Here's the highs, here's the lows. We're inside of range. So neutral from that perspective. I don't think that we have shock and awe here. So we move along to question number 1.5. Whenever we're opening in range, we ask where are we opening relative to the value area. We have double trouble up here. Stevie Ray Vaughan gets the shout out this morning. So prior day's high, value area high, almost one in the same. Value area low, 59.6950. We are currently opening inside of value. So P for patience really starts to become a virtue for this morning session. P for patience is what we're looking for. We don't want to jump the gun. We want to make sure that the trade setup is coming to us. Let's move along to question number 2. What do we see out of the overnight range? Here's the overnight high. Here is the overnight low on the flurry of NVIDIA earnings after the close yesterday. We're obviously opening much closer to the overnight high versus the overnight low. So with that, I would say that the buyers have a little bit of something going on through the overnight session. Whoa, what's with the all caps? Wait, I've played these games before from Will Jr. Yeah, we can play games. Just making sure that we're not, let's not yell too much. We'll let that one slide, but that's that. So ES, question number 2, overnight range, opening closer to the highs. Is it possible that the risk reward here is actually more favorable for the downside? It could be. It could be, right? Some sort of rejection again of 6,000, 60.10. Something that looks like this. Value area rotation back to the downside at 59.65. Not unreasonable. Not unreasonable. I still think that we would lean into P for patience being the virtue on the open and not just trying to slam it short off the open here. So let's give that thing some time to set up and present the trade opportunity if it's going to go. Let's go ahead and take a look at question number 3. See what's going on from the overnight inventory perspective. Net long, net short. To do that, extrapolate the previous day's settlement. Same thing as saying the closing price. How much time was spent below, how much time was spent above. Obviously, a lot more time and distance is now being spent above. This was really just a flurry of volatility from NVIDIA earnings back here. Not going to read into that too much. I would argue that the inventory here is about 85%. 85% net long. Let's say 85%, and then we'll go NL for net long. There we have it. So what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that if there is going to be inventory correction, it wouldn't be unreasonable for it to happen to the downside. So this very premature path that we've put on the chart here, it aligns with the risk reward. It aligns with the net long inventory correcting. Is it top of mind in a P for patient open inside of range, inside of value? Not really. Not really. So with that, let's go ahead and let's let this simmer for a 3 count, and then we'll sort of continue along here. Naveen says that I think it's net long 83.79%. Thank you, Naveen, for the precision there. You guys, please make the correction on your own personal notebooks, right? Correct to the number there in the chat. Appreciate the use of the abacus, right? We don't just buy these things for nothing. So thank you. We'll let this simmer for a 3 count. I'm going to take a sip of coffee here, and we will continue into the pathing here in just a moment. There's a lot of big calls in the chat for stagflation and recession and a big drop and a big this and a big that. We'll see. I mean, the technical levels are going to lead the way for me. All right, they're going to lead the way. All right, taking a sip of coffee. We're going to give this a 3 count. 3, 2, 1. Poof. There we go. And it's gone, right? There's that classic meme. So a little bit of a reversal to the downside here. Nothing major yet, although it does look like a little volatility is creeping in there. It's the movement is a little bit more erratic than what we had back off to the left, of course. So I think it's maybe the market coming to terms with sort of what we've been talking about over the last little bit, right? Is there a tariff announcement or something going on? I don't know. I mean, this is the market we're trading in, right? This is the market we're trading in. It's the market we have to adapt to. I think that this basically, so as and if this progresses towards the open, closer to this 59.80 zone, which is where I was really forecasting without the help of this. The NVIDIA earnings were going to leave us. It really leaves us with that sort of more bearish bias, the cautiously bearish bias. So, I think that it's still spot on. The conversation we've been having this morning about the red flags, white flags, whatever color flags you want to call them, they're there. They're absolutely there. And it's not. I don't think this is just going to get like swept under the rug, like no problem for the market. So, anyhow, technical levels, pathing. Here we go. What's the game plan? Well, we know that we're opening in range in value. We said that P for patience is going to be the ideal outcome here. Giant red. I think that the opening range, it can be wide. It can be through here. One of the levels that you might have on your chart, you guys know me. I really try to not be level happy and get an aggressive amount of things on the chart all at once. I really like to have the belief, basically, that we can move from level to level openly, freely. So let's go in here with the opening print of the prior day's session. I'm going to say OP for opening print. We'll drop that on the right. Great. There we go. So it's a little bit, that's too low, actually. Let's go up to, what is the actual open? Let me just hover my cursor and get it right. 87.25. Let's go 87.25. All right. There we go. So this opening print could be your over and underline. If we get opening range, consolidation, whatever, initial balance, whatever you want to call it, if we get it here over the previous day's opening print, then it's possible, right? We get some attempted counter trend to continue and something along these lines. I would say that the big first step would be if the opening range is here, let's just draw in the box, right? You would want to see price acceptance over 6,000 over the top of the opening range, similar to what happened here, but you just want the follow through this go around. And your trade setup probably comes from a higher low over the previous day's high. So opening range. Let's see if we can build a Picasso this morning. We've got 8:49 on the clock. We're behind schedule, which is fine. I'm trying to make this clean. There we go. We want to end off in the middle so we can go up and down without having a directional bias there. I prefer coffee talk from Lobster. I like it. I like it. This is a good first step on the long side, and then the true long for, again, still counter trend, but the long I would look to participate in is possibly right here. And to map out some levels, we all know we still have 60.45. We've talked about this until we're blue in the face here this morning. That's your higher time frame, 4 hour, let's say 4 hour, 4H, threat for a lower high, right? Still, 4 hour threat for a lower high. So this honestly, this should be in red. This should be in red, but we'll point to it in red. So the Picasso still sticks, all right? We don't have to clear it up yet. So that is one possible counter trend move. This is an idea from like A. Oops, we want a letter A. There we go. From A to B, right? And generally speaking, it would be risk and reward into 60.45. I'm going to clear that up so the Picasso is still clean, but you get the idea. I would be very open-minded still, and we sort of talked about this the other day, to failure patterns. Failure patterns in the market. So failure, and then we'll just say P for patterns. Failure patterns. What does that mean? Well, just like yesterday, basically, a failure to hold up over 6,000 that then comes back down under 6,000. Let's just take out the red crayon because we are in an hourly downtrend, right? This probably retargets today's opening print, today's low of day, and then seeks the 59.65 level. So let's put that in there. Let's say 59.65. 59.65. There we go. And this is now, again, almost in an ironic fashion, should be pointed at with a green arrow to say it's possible that this is a 1 hour higher low. All right, so that is on the table as well. The failure pattern is probably more, I would be open-minded to that, right? I really think that that's a strong opportunity for today's session. The other thing that can happen here is just simply that the market, whoa, funky zoom on Thinkorswim. Rise, don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Rise, you must be new here, my friend. You must be new. We're going to give you a pass one time, Rise. So it can go up or down. Got it. All right. You must be new to the markets. You must be new to the markets. Because if you're just realizing that the market can go up or down, guess what? You're right. The market can go up and the market can go down. So let me keep my cool for this morning's session. And let's continue along. We're going to give you the pass one time, but don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Rob Pope brings up a good point. Or sideways. It can also go sideways. Goodness, how could I have forgotten? How could I have forgotten? Oh my goodness. Goodness. No, we can't be angry. Come on. It's the end of February. Spring is right around the corner. There's no need to be angry. We're just having some fun. One of the outcomes for the market could also be that we rally in an attempt to get to 6,000, and then there's just straight up a rejection off of 6,000 for something that looks like this, right? That too is a very, very reasonable performance. So that's that. Rise says, sorry, I didn't know we were so serious here. My bad, guys. We're not so serious. We're not so serious, right? As you can clearly see. We're having fun. We're having fun. So anyways, the point that I truly want to put this out there as a path as well, right? An opening rally that rejects 6,000. So let's add 6,000 to the lineup here. And let's use the cyan crayon just to make sure that we keep accounting happy and we keep our crayon budget intact. 6,000 can still offer a rejection. And what would that be on the bar-to-bar count? Let's not lose sight of this, right? Let me bring out the cyan crayon again. It would just be a lower high, right? That would be a lower high from there to there. And I think what we'll do is we'll leave that cyan crayon arrow on the table as an outcome. All right, as the market continues to get a little bit further underneath the OP, the opening print of the prior day's session, I think what we want to acknowledge as well is the bearish consolidation, right? Obviously, I was talking about this just a moment ago. This balance range here in the upper over the opening print is a little bit more like, okay, we'll look for the upside, but more so it's that failure pattern, right? If the market opens down here, which it looks like it's certainly starting to get more acceptance back down towards the lows, bring it on down, baby. Bring it on down. If we do get this opening range down here, we'll do the same thing with a little box. I would be much more open-minded to, like, instead of trying to buy support for the hourly high or low off of 59.65, I would be looking for a rinse and repeat of what happened yesterday. Notice that we broke underneath, tried to hold a lower high underneath. NVIDIA earnings sort of put a damper on that. The market closed. But any acceptance underneath 59.8725 really sets the tone for, in my view, something more along the lines like this, right? And we will target the previous day's low. And if we do need to seek continuation in the downward direction, does anybody know? Does anybody know what the next level is to the downside without me zooming out? Does anybody know it? Does anybody know the ES chart like the back of their hand? Right? Anybody have that level? Just like quickly rattle it out. I like G's answer. 0. 0. Yeah, it's the gap close from CPI / the low of the Tuesday session there. A majority of people are getting it right here. I'll show it to you first, right? Let's zoom out. Oh, there it is. 59.20. It was just a hair off the screen. 59.20 is that secret sauce level. All right, 59.20 is what we're looking for there on the downswing if we see continuation underneath prior day's low, which to me makes more sense coming from a lower open here underneath yesterday's opening print, right? So that's that. I'm not trying to be an aggressive bear. Again, I'm typically dubbed the perma bull of YouTube. So if you're sitting here saying, like, why is he being so bearish? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing... Like, it's just what the chart indications are suggesting to us as of right now. If I think through all of the data points this morning, and I get it, it's 8:56 on the clock. We're behind schedule for sure. But let's go ahead and just talk through the data points we've covered thus far today, which probably support more of these downside arrows being reasonable than anything else, right? Number one, what's the 4-hour trend? 4-hour trend is, you could make the argument for neutral in the box, but it's at the bottom end of the box with a lot of overhead supply. So let's say 4-hour trend. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt, and let's say, okay, it's neutral with the opportunity for a lower high. All right, that probably leans on the bear side of things.
Research group Snowflake, you're about 12% with a Maness, Crespi, and Hart upgrade. This is probably last night's most resounding earnings winner, so SNOW definitely on watch here. Then Urban Outfitters, another recent earnings name, getting a Telsey Advisory Group upgrade and a $59 price target. Downgrade side of things, actually a bank name, Goldman Sachs, with a Keefe Bruyette downgrade. NVIDIA up on the day after earnings, but there was that gross margin coming in a bit in line, weak gross margin guidance. Regardless, they get a downgrade here from Summit Insights. Then we've got Constellation Brands here getting downgraded by Morgan Stanley. And last but not least, Barclays downgrading Sempra. Back to you.
Summit, do your thing. I never heard of them, but it is what it is. And they like an NVIDIA downgrade. Look, Snowflake, they beat top bottom. Good guide. This one's set up for a bit of a break if it can get to the top today. 195, kind of like a little bit of a double top in here. It has been in resistance since the last earnings at about 190 as well. So it's got a lot of work to do to get there. The market did everyone watching probably just noticed that the market did a little bit of a dip. You saw NVIDIA pull back. I mean, everything I was looking at just had a little bit of a dip in there on that in the last 5-10 minutes. But I think Snowflake, if it's going to make that breakout, you'd like to think it can get there today. I kind of pencil in as a low probability one, so I have 4 other ideas that I tweeted out, but Snowflake, the 195 breakout, it could happen. It's just, you're already at 14%. I feel like a join of a trend might be a little bit more reasonable for today, and then whenever the breakout does happen, maybe it's a continuation play tomorrow, maybe it's something a little bit next week after things settle down, because it's still sitting in the middle of a range as we speak.
All right, I have the sticky note is out right now. I'm looking at Big Bear AI, looking to see if we can do something with yesterday's sort of top there, if we can take out 620, 625. This is going to be a level that I'm looking at here today, up 4.5%. Again, good number from Snowflake, another AI name here. Should go a data name. You know, we talked about the Department of Defense last week or 2 weeks ago with that contract. Another name that I've been buying here, Big Bear AI. I'm long in my personal account. Let's go back over to the desk.
All right, let's get into everything we need to know here this morning. There's a ton moving around, as we were just talking to Lewis there. A lot of little ones that you're going to be looking at, I'm sure.
For those, on the How to Trade Midday show, catch those with me. But let's have a look at the futures to start off the day here on the ES March contract. We closed out at 59.70, defending again that 59.50 area on a closing basis. So we're kind of ranging here, 60.25 to the high side, 59.50 to the downside. We're a little bit below 6,000 right now, so we're going to use the same range. 60.25 to the high side if we get above 6,000. If we go below, 59.50.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure you sign up for the absolutely free watch list. Comes right to your inbox every single morning before we come on at 8:30. Jump down to the description of this video right now. Top link in the description will get you to the sign up page. And then all you need is your email. That's it. I was just counting up some of these analysts' opinions here on Jensen and NVIDIA all together. I don't see one negative one. They're all maintain or even a couple of more positive type references here for NVIDIA this morning. I mean, price action is fine, I guess, as we were saying before. It's good enough.
Yeah. I expected this. I mean, we zigged and zagged last time, Brendo. There was no decision until afterwards. Let's talk about how they did. So revenue, an easy beat, guys. 39.33 billion. The street was looking for 38 and change. EPS, another beat there, 89 pennies. The street wanted 84. Q1 guidance for 2025 also beat easily, $43 billion in revenue, implying a 65% year-over-year growth. But compare this to last year, when we grew 262%, so growth slowing down a little bit here. Now, they make the majority of their money, as we know, from data centers. Data center is essentially a synonym for AI. They made $35.6 billion of their $39.3 from AI data centers. That's a 93% year-over-year increase. Blackwell AI chip in high demand as well, so we'll keep tabs on that. Revenue breakdown, though, Brendo, this is interesting over here. We know their networking revenues down 9%. Gaming missed expectations, but the silver lining here, automotive revenue up 103% year over year. Basically, everyone's looking for that self-driving technology.
And we've talked a lot about how many not these chips specifically, but chips in general are now in cars.
Yes.
10, 15, even 20, depending on which type of vehicle you're looking at. I was just noting this note down here as well. Jensen referencing specifically some issues and hiccups, quote unquote hiccups, with the first version of the Blackwell chip, and said he praised his team for an amazing recovery. Blackwell, quote unquote, Blackwell Ultra is on track for the second half of 2025.
I like it.
Anything with Ultra
sounds bound to be good.
I mean, everything they do is going to be good. I mean, Ultra, let's see how it turns out. I mean, ultimately, all you needed to beat. I think this was one of those situations where, okay, you beat top bottom, but given what had happened in the market the last few days, you kind of wonder what would have happened if the numbers hadn't been good for NVIDIA. Thankfully, we don't have to really think about that. There was a pretty decent level that got set up yesterday. I'm talking about like 132. I mean, you can argue, I'd say if we weren't so strong, I'd be talking 129 today, but no, we're strong, so I'm looking at 132. Afternoon, that's right where it closed. You go back to Tuesday, that was Tuesday's top as well. This is where it accelerates to the downside as well. It ends up being a pre-market low. So if we hold on to that, looking for long continuations here on NVIDIA. There's one other chip name that will be on the radar for me, and that's going to be AMD. This is going to be about as true and over-under as I've seen in a while, because this is a stock that's just been, distinctly different. And as strong as NVIDIA has been, AMD has been just as weak and clearly trending down. Just made a fresh low the other day, a couple of days ago, and then held that bottom. So now double bottomed at a new 52-week low. You can see a 106.5 resistance in here. If this breaks out, I expect I'll be long NVIDIA. But if this one breaks out at the open, I'll probably look for a continuation. But if it fails, the first thing I'd look for is a fail of that high for reverse. 106.5 there on AMD. It's the kind of stock where if we fail tops right away at the open, or it doesn't break out when everything else does, you generally want to be short the first phase. So I always want to have it up when we're having a strong morning, because it's usually the one thing that I would look the other direction. But NVIDIA, 129, 132, looking longs both levels.
Yeah, I'm looking, I got NVIDIA here. It's the #1 trade on the sticky note. I mean, we nailed the sticky note the last, couple months has been just crazy with some of the levels. And I mean, we haven't traded them perfectly, but yesterday we had SMCI there at 52. That gave us $4. Today we have NVIDIA at 131. So you can go over, if you're on it, go find me at Trader TV Sean. You'll find all the notes. I'm going to trade it right off here. So there's some consolidation that was happening right there yesterday, right before the number, and obviously right before close. And we didn't really break through 131. So I'm going to look at 131, holding it against 130. If we take out 130, then we can just stop out, lose that dollar and change, and be fine with it. So that's what I'm going to do. Wait to see if we can base out a little bit here on NVIDIA. Forget about the numbers. You can look them up. I'm not going to sit here and say, how great it was, because it was great. It's just a matter of what will the stock market do, right? You're underneath all of the options, no matter which way you went yesterday. They're not going to be worth anything today. So you're going to have to either hold on to that and hope for a bigger move, or maybe flatten out and get whatever you can out of that trade. But, here's a dip down. It could come into 132 immediately off the open. And if it does, I just want to hold this 131. I mean, we were running that VWAP yesterday. It was bouncing off in the afternoon. So let's just pretend there was no report and see what happens at 131. It's just trading as if there was nothing happening, right? I mean, NASDAQ up 0.6, NVIDIA up 1.8. I mean, it's kind of like just another Thursday. So for me, I'm going long NVIDIA, and it's going to be somewhere around here, 130. Well, I'm going long. I'm already bidding. So I'm already on the bid at 131. So if it comes in there, we'll get that fill. And we might even test it a little bit higher at 132. But I think patience is going to be pretty important here today for NVIDIA. AMD has been a monster trade. Obviously, we talked about that 108, 109 the other day. And then yesterday we hit a AMD as well. It was my #1 P&L name yesterday by far. And it was just shorting right here. So we shorted this level, 105.80. That's where we were short. We brought it all the way down into 104. So just a great couple trades there for AMD yesterday. Reloaded it off VWAP again. So it traded out really well. So yeah, I'm still looking short on AMD, but today's a long day for me on NVIDIA. Yeah, I asked you, I said, why in the world where there were like 30 of these sandwiches on the other side?
That's a lot.
So it's like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know, our caterers here.
How many people?
Last time I had one of these, is there actually egg in this one, or is it just sausage?
It's egg and sausage. I already had one. It's yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, thanks.
I'm not can't eat the second
Randy.
one. Yo, Joe, you want this?
Joe can just go get one. There's literally 40 over there.
Throw it out.
They're gonna throw them all out.
That's the sad part, is they are gonna get like there's so many they are gonna.
Anyways, I won't be having that. But thank you, Randy, for that. Maybe
the coffee.
Maybe we'll grab the egg out of there. That's for sure. Donald Trump confirming, of course, that there's going to be tariffs on Canada on March 4th, and then an extra, he said, 10% on China. So GM, down to 47.60 right now. FXI, oh boy. 36.25 yesterday. We bought that level. That was a sticky note level yesterday. 36.25 is what we wrote down on yesterday's sticky note. Look at this, come into 36.25 and then ripped up, right? And so like you can see today's note. It's fine, it's right here. But if we scroll down to see yesterday's note, there it is right here, 36.25 for FXI. So yesterday, I mean, there it is. There's 36.25. Came right in. We bought that dip, went up to T-Money and everybody there, exploding there into the close. We had a great bunch of trades from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. yesterday. And then we had the record viewership at the close of over 18,000 of you. So we want to thank everybody for coming through yesterday. FXI, look at that. There's that additional 10% move there for China. So it's going to be bad with the tariffs. I mean, this guy just can't shut his mouth about all that stuff. I mean, I think it's great for America, obviously, as they start to get paid on some of this trade deficit. So I can definitely understand what he's doing. And he's basically, as Donald Trump promised all this stuff, and
he said he was doing it,
so that's why I'm not hating on any of it. It just kind of, for the stock market, it gives us those ebbs and flows. So you just got to trade off of that. So we'll watch FXI today.
Go to crypto here, back to the upside to the tune of about 2% here for IBIT. Anything related? Even I noticed Hood this morning was not HOD, HOOD. Hood was off to a pretty good start here, 5.5%. So relative strength in some of the equities versus crypto in general.
Yeah, it was interesting yesterday. We didn't really understand why the crypto was selling off. Did a little bit of a deeper dive. There was obviously that hack over the weekend, that North Korean hack that stole a substantial amount of crypto. There's also the fact that we may not get as many interest rates in 25, and this is still, believe what you want, categorized as a speculative asset. But Marathon Digital did report yesterday, and they did quite well. So earnings, a huge earnings surprise, Brendo, of 487.5%. They printed $1.24 per share. The street was looking for 32-penny loss. So a marked difference there. Revenue was also quite strong. Revenue came in at $214 million, handily beating estimates there by 12.25%. The shares are still down, though, 26% year to date. Now, with respect to the guidance, here's what they're talking about now. They're talking about EPS of about minus 10 cents per share on revenue of $223.65 million. So it's up 13% over here. Not a bad look for Marathon.
Yeah, up this morning as well. Here's, I mean, IBIT, the trend, guys, still very much downside. I was just looking at Coin as well, trying to get back above 220, but failing here. This thing's still solidly in a downtrend.
You know, you're definitely still in that downtrend. You're underneath on Bitcoin that prior support we had like 88. So the gap, as far as I'm concerned, there is nothing to fill just yet. But if we do have any kind of a rally day today, Mara is worth looking at. And I'm not a huge fan of the miners in general. Usually we're looking for shorts on it, but when this is gapping up, it's got a decent enough short float. Let me just double check here on Mara. You got a 14.4 in here that goes back to Tuesday. Double top in there now when you look at the pre-market. So there's some room for it to break that, get to 15, and then rally. You have to keep your eye on Bitcoin when you're trading this thing. If there's any kind of a flush or strong downward move, more than likely to follow it. But Mara up that 14 points. The price action looks good. It's got relative strength because of the catalyst. It's got relative volume for the same reason. So this is where I'm looking as 14.4 Mara break.
I mean, the thing about Mara is it was just 2 days ago, it was at its 52-week low. So you are getting a nice little bump right there. I mean, here's what the chart looks like on E-Signal. There it is right there, 12.05 there was the low. I guess it was yesterday, actually, that it was just put in. So nice move down there for Mara. Yeah, obviously we're liking it up here at $14. I still think you're going to try to fade this name. So for me, Mara's, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to try to take this one short. Up 13%. I do understand that there is going to be a short float there. So I'd watch out for that. I saw that you were buying some crypto, obviously, when you were off there. So was I. Down to 86 and change. Not great. I'm still not in love with what's happening with Bitcoin. I mean, I like to see this thing above that 88,000 mark and try to hold it. So for me, for Mara, unfortunately, I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of traders here that are going to want to go long on this name for sure. But I'm going to just say, whoa, I want to do that. There it is. I was going to say I want this to break through. And I mean, obviously, that's going to be a level. I think that will get tested 1440, even 1450, 1460. But if you do get that extra little 5% or so, 10% even bump from here up into $15, put that at 20% or so, then I think that's the marker to hit the short. So, yeah, Mara's a great trade today. I'm just not in love with anything crypto long until it gets going a little bit. And I'm nervous about the NASDAQ. I mean, it's dipping and diving here, and now it's come all the way back up. And we know the correlation between the NASDAQ and crypto is very, very strong. So we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening on the top side right there. Nice move right back into pre-market lows, and now we're trying to go up to pre-market highs. Very, very volatile here on not much economic numbers coming through, and then we already have the NVIDIA print behind us. So I'm going to wait on Mara and just wait to see what happens with crypto. But Coinbase has been pretty much a disaster. It was 260, 270 there, and you're falling off. I don't know why that still stays Mara. I'm trying to show you what's been happening with Coinbase. But there it is, just kind of straight down as we see the pain that happens in some of the altcoins. But the thing about it is, I'm not really sure why Coinbase goes down when Bitcoin goes down, to be completely honest with you. Maybe I got to look at what the relationship is right there, because I know that there's a lot of trading happening right now in this space. So trading revenues should be okay for Coinbase. I guess it's just a lack of confidence, right? The more people think that the crypto game is potentially winding down a little bit there, as many of you, it was basically 50-50, I think it was 52-48, where a lot of you were just fleeing yesterday. So congratulations, those of you that said yes, you just lost $4,000 because it's bounced back up a little bit. So people were selling it.
Fleeing.
Even Joe, I mean, people were like, yeah, we're selling this thing at 82,000. I was like, okay, I was surprised that people were doing that, but that's what they were doing. So right now, back up 4,000. We'll see if crypto can hold.
Yeah. Let's go to Snowflake here, 13% right now. Nice beat for them, expanding their Microsoft partnership that was already in place to include some OpenAI and AI activity in general. But I mean, there's not much in the way of negativity to mention here for Snow across the board.
An easy beat, Brendo. Q4 revenue easily beat $986 million in revenue, handily exceeding the $955 expected. Now, with respect, to the first quarter guide, they're guiding $955 to $960 ahead of the $949 expected by the street. Now, with respect to full 2026, fiscal 2026, I should mention, revenue, they're expecting to grow 24% up to $4.2 billion. 4.28 billion, exceeding the street's expectations of 4.21, and they're growing aggressively here with some partnerships. Brendo, they've integrating OpenAI models into their Snowflake Cortex AI. They're also doing business here with AWS for cloud-based solutions, and they're really looking to expand, or they are expanding, demand for their enterprise data and AI data solutions. So looking to expand. Did I say expand enough?
Maybe one more time.
Okay. Yes, expanding to the upside there, Snowflake, up that 13 points. What I love about this on the daily chart is it's like a wild, large bull flag here on the daily. It's not really, this probably doesn't even fit the definition of a bull flag, but what you do have is a consolidation, at least, where it found support at 150. That was the first support after they reported their last report. So it's looking good. I just don't know that, I said this before, I don't know if you get the 195 breakout today. It's kind of sitting in the middle of nowhere. You're a ways away from that 50 period. You still have $6, $7 to go to break out that top. The name and the kind of adjacent name I was looking at was the continuation on Palantir. Oh, that's right, because it's went to the NASDAQ, so you only have it from the NASDAQ. But it bounced off that 50 period, held the bottom twice. You got a consolidation day yesterday after holding that 50 period on Palantir. You got 94 quarters set for a breakout right now. That's going to be like Monday and Tuesday's top. A little bit of a double top for the break at 94 and a quarter. There's support, in theory, down at that 86 to 88 level in front of that 50 period on the daily. So, I'm kind of looking at Palantir. Maybe Snowflake does get that 195. I feel like it'll be a little overstretched if it gets there at the open. So I'm unlikely to take that breakout, but it's on the radar. Definitely going to have it on my iPad. Going to have some alerts set out for it if we get there in the next couple of days. But Palantir breaking out this 94 quarter, looking for the longs.
Yeah, I know Neil said it's kind of looking at Palantir. I have Palantir directly in my sights today. We have it at $90 long. So, I mean, let's see if we get a good move here early, which is happening as we speak. Let's see if we get that dip that we've had many, many times. Snow is obviously helping the name right here today. So for me, Palantir has to be a big trade, and I'm here to make it. So we'll wait to see if we can come back into this 90 level. Obviously, yesterday it was holding as a short underneath that all afternoon, and then now you get that bump up. So let's see if we can come back into here. The real level is going to be like 89.50. You want to see if it breaks that to come back in. But for me, it's a buy, and we're going to start that at 90 bucks. The 200 periods here at 91. So I wonder if that's going to play. But we already mentioned here that I'm nervous a little bit about what the futures are doing. So we'll have to wait to see. But this 91 could be a play for Palantir. I'm going to be a little bit more patient. Everything I'm talking about, I'm actually bidding these levels. So we're sitting here waiting to see if we do get a drip down here. And it won't be a drip. I think it'll be a whoops down all the way down into 90 straight away off the open. We don't get imbalances till 925. And right now, remember yesterday it was all bids and we had that huge rally sort of start off the day and then obviously fizzled and we turned red at the end of the day. But right here, a couple buys on board. You know, we talked about it yesterday. We had a monster trade at the end of the day as well. Wow. With SMR. I mean, we were long down here on SMR yesterday, 1775, closed it up near 18, and now you're getting that bump again on new scale. So I believe reporting tonight, we'll see what happens with SMR, up another 4.5% here today. I like this stock as well. So another name on radar. But the big one for me, we talked about this yesterday. I said it yesterday live on air. And I mean, again, I hope, like, I stick my neck out all the time. And I mean, I was like, this is a buying opportunity down there at 280. I know a lot of you were doing that. It wasn't there for too long. Even when we dipped into this 290 area, I was like, you got to buy this Salesforce dip. I like the name, like Mark Benioff, like everything that's involved there. There is 290 right there off that 200 period moving average. So I'm glad we discussed that in the after show. And I want to thank everybody for watching. We had record views yesterday. It was an absolute gem of a show. So we'll see if we can do something like that tonight as well. But 290, I really like this on Salesforce. Let's go find out the story.
Yeah, trying to bounce a little bit here, still 3%. This quote specifically caught my eye this morning, the fact that they're going to begin to look beyond CRM products specifically and look into the digital labor revolution, so the AI agents, things along that line. So, I mean, a $12 trillion market cap, potentially, according to Mark Benioff.
Yeah, the AI agent thing is going to be huge. They're already expanding that, and they're leading the way, Brendo. So I can't wait to see what 2025 brings for that. Let's talk about how they did, though. Quarterly revenue came in just a scotch below 10 billion, 9.99. It did miss the street's estimates of 10.04. Earnings per share did exceed, so they were able to shore up costs. 278 per share versus the 261 expected by the street. Now let's talk about where they're making money. They're making more money from services than they are from sales, 2.33 billion, but that was below the street's expectations of 2.37. Sales revenue came in at 2.13, also below that 2.17 the street was demanding. Now this is where it gets interesting. This is their agent force. That's basically their second generation AI agent. It was launched. It's got about 3,000 paid deals right now. It's handled, Brendo, 380,000 customer interactions, and human intervention was only required in 2% of those cases. So it's proof of concept. Now, with respect to guidance, they're also guiding quite well over here. 9.71 billion versus 9.76. The street wanted 9.9, so a bit of a miss there. And their full year 2026 target is going to be between 40.5 to 40.9 billion in revenue, implying a 7.5% growth.
And the interesting part was a lot of those, the AI feature is going to be built into their overall suite and overall platform where, for example, ChatGPT's Operator, I think it's called, the latest version that they just came out with, which is also supposed to be an agent. You have to pay the $200 a month Pro plan to get access to that for ChatGPT.
Yeah, well, I mean, the 4P was in the was like 24 before this. So obviously with the beat on EPS, then, you know, they'll be solidly in the 20s, whatever, they'll get recalculated. So it's still looking pretty reasonable in terms of its valuation for CRM. I don't know if this will be a trade for me today. Probably look over it like an SMCI and put that one up instead of CRM. But, you know, like Sean, I like that 200 period moving average in a general sense off 290. I think it sets you up with a good over-under level to play off of on CRM. But as far as the trade goes, I don't know if that's going to be there for me. and I sort of looked over all the names, one that stood out there was going to be SMCI, and it's more of a continuation play. You know, they had the report, great. It was a sell the news event. It just basically stair-stepped to the downside. So I always look at what are the big prior levels. There's 52.5, there's 52.5, there at the open is 52, and then there's 52.25. So that's a target area for a continuation short. Had to pay a ridiculously small amount for the locates on SMCI like we do every single day, but I'll trade that instead of CRM. Great stock in the long term. I think it's now that it's actually down on the year, it's pulling into some good value levels, but it's not one that I'm buying. I like some other things at these prices, particularly like Alphabet down here. That'll be something I probably dip by in the next couple of days. But yeah, I don't know if it'll be a trade today. I'd rather trade SMCI or Palantir or Tesla or NVIDIA.
Yeah, we never trade Salesforce. So, yeah, good name there, down 3.5%. One of the least traded big cap names for sure here on the show. I mean, I'd like for it to split a little bit. You know, pretty choppy here so far in the AM. I don't know. I'm not, like, I think that 290, because it's the 200 period moving average, I think that could be something. So looking at that as a level there, 290 to possibly hold right off the jump. So I think if you're in this, you'll look to see if that holds. I would say if it doesn't, I would drop out of it, because it did have this move down. Then, you know, the quarter wasn't super. And yeah, 290. I think if we don't hold that 290, I think it might be something to get rid of. I mean, that 290 is, I mean, it's 289 and change, but that 200 period moving average is not going to be an exact number. It's just that's where support is. So if we lose it, then I do think you eventually trade in this 250 to 260 range. And if you're bearish on the market, then you don't want to be long Salesforce right there. Again, another disappointing report. I mean, it was down where it should be, down there about 8 or 9%. Now you're back up to 3.5%. So it's just a lot of the volatility is not there in some of these names. So for me, yeah, looking elsewhere, not odd Salesforce today. You know, even C3AI could be a decent play here. So yeah, watch 290. I mean, that's going to be a level. It's only $5 away. I think we can get there right off the open. Try the long. If it breaks 289, you're out.
C3AI trying to bounce off 24 here for the second time this morning after we tagged that after the close yesterday. 5.5% still to the downside. That said, there's a lot of green numbers over here, meaning that most of this was to the positive side, including some analysts with not bad notes this morning.
Absolutely, Brendo. It was a decent move here. Revenue expanded 26% year over year, a little shy of 100 million, 98.8 million, but that did exceed analyst expectations. They did post a bit of a wider than expected loss of 80.2 million. That's up from 72.6 last year, so that was a bit of a miss. EPS, adjusted loss per share of 12 cents, but that beat the 25 cents that the street was looking for. But they're really expanding what they're doing here with partnerships. Strategic partnerships are really growing. 47 agreements closed, Brendo, in Q3. That's a 74% year-over-year increase. They have partnerships with like companies like Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, McKinsey, the U.S. Department of Defense, Mars, Liberty, Coca-Cola. Brendo, all that said, I still don't know what they do.
Took the words right out of my mouth. If you zoom out a little bit here, we're right back to significant levels once again this morning here for C3AI. You got to go all the way back to November to find some support here.
True, the balances just dropped as well. So just very quickly, NVIDIA is a buy and balance of 870,000 shares with 1.7 million paired off. Tesla was just had a bit of a $3 drop. 400,000 imbalance to the sell side. You've got IonQ, which is a sell 350. QBTS is a buy 350. Oklo's in there with a buy. So some decent names. Obviously, I think Tesla, maybe Big Bear there with a 480,000 buy, and NVIDIA are the big ones on the imbalance locator. Look, C3AI, like Brendan said, I mean, it doesn't really, forget about the report. It hasn't even had a real update in like a week and a half. And this is looking like it could be a flat bottom break. Like that prior support at 24 quarter, that's a ways away. I'm looking at the Tuesday bottom, 25 and a quarter. Simple over under there. Like if it can't get above 25 and a quarter at the open, that's the area I want to look for a pop and fade. But just to go over again, for anyone that didn't see it, if you're looking at that bounce or that drop that just happened in Tesla, about $3 just now, like this little drop in here, that was on the heels of a 400,000 imbalance. Some of that is getting paired off. Nvidia's actually grew, so it was 860,000 to the buy side. Now you're looking at just 9.25 to the buy side on Nvidia. Yeah, it might not be one of those dip and rips if they keep this imbalance going on NVDA. I don't know if we'll get all the way down into those prior highs from yesterday.
Yeah, that's too bad. I turned to Neil about 5 minutes ago, and I was like, man, NVIDIA's still ripping. And then he's like, well, imbalances are coming. I was like, it's going to be a bid, and it was. So let's see. There it goes again. It was just at 134.99. It just went up 30 cents right there, like just cleared everything on the level to get back up to the upside. NVIDIA bid still there, growing actually up to $1.14 million shares. All right, so for me, for that means we're going long there. Breaking through the top of the day right now, 136 and change. I think now you got to look at 133.50 on the 200 period moving average. So there it goes. Now it's gone. This is what happens. They pair off, but we know the interest is there, so we don't have to worry about it. Big Bear also, I mean, randomly, honestly, pretty random, right? On the sticky note here today, up 5%, doing good volume, but I have it to go long. The bid's already breaking through $6.30. That's yesterday's level. So we could break through that. It's really 625. I said, let's give it a little more room and see if we can take a 630 break. So that trade's already in. So what am I doing today? We have a Riley bid right now as well. So I'm just going to sort this all alphabetically so I can find out what I'm doing. Riley bid down here at 650. So we'll see if we can get that. Amazon also bidding down here as well near 215. That's just took off. So we were close to 215 there again. We may have to play all these 200 period moving averages. So Amazon definitely on watch there. Palantir $90. We're bidding that. So I think that's the most likely one to come through. And then my NVIDIA bids. We have 4 trades right now that we're looking at. Imbalance located with just a minute left. We'll have a quick little look to see what it's doing. Oops, sort by size. There you go, WCT, so I don't even know what that is. IonQ, NVIDIA's right there as a bid. Joby off report 2 days ago, and Oklo. I mean, that would be something that's interesting down there as a bid, but pretty mixed buys and sells there to start. So I think I'll be looking at Palantir off the open. That will be, for me, the one that most likely fills.
Well, it's no longer going to be AMD on the offer. AMD just dropped again. A lot of times, it probably might have been a sell imbalance. I didn't see it, but the timing of it makes it pretty certain. Tried to get to that 106.5 and has already failed. So it's weak. NVIDIA's strong. Tesla just hit 290, 291. Tesla's fallen like an absolute rock, everybody. 280 is a big level on Tesla. 277 is the 200 period moving average for Tesla. That's going to be one to watch for sure. Let's get that opening bell. It's Thursday and brought to you by Foremost Clean Energy. Shout out to them. Scan that QR code and Adara. Ring it in 2 and 1. Let's go.
All right, foolish not to look at NVIDIA, so we're going to do that right off the jump here and just have a quick look to see what winds up happening as the futures are now open and the stock market is ready to, give us something today. That is for sure. All right, so there's a little bit pullback in NVIDIA. As we said, it looks like Palantir is going to be the one right now that does pull back, pulls back into the 200 period moving average. We called some of these pullbacks. It's just too early right now. And I don't want to switch up my game plan and start using smaller shares to get in early. I'd rather wait to see if we can build up a play and get going. So there goes Amazon, new chip related news. So it's starting to go back up to the upside. Here goes 219, here goes 220 for Amazon. So that could be one that we look at for sure. We love Amazon around here. And I think that this 220 break is something that I'm going to take. So here comes Amazon right into 220.
Yeah, Amazon looking strong. Tesla continuing to look weak. Mara got to the top. It's still chilling out. Not really. No break high. No break of the low either. SMCI off the jump is broken down. So no pop and fade into that 52. Not going to jump too early on that name. Palantir still doing okay. I mean, it's just sitting exactly in the same range, not doing anything. It's actually NVIDIA that looks like it's going to end up moving the most in here, as that's now pulled back into 133. So NVIDIA starting to dip into the pre-market lows as the sell has come in, at least off the open for NVIDIA. It was a buy and bounce, but they paired that off, and now trending down in towards this 132 level here on NVIDIA. Oh, just one more, Riley as well. Off the open, broke VWAP on Riley. You got to regain VWAP or not interested in, I keep wanting to say B. Riley, but it's not. It's Riley Financial.
Yep, exactly. Okay, we'll see what's happening to the downside here with, I mean, I'm still on the same names. Looking at that NVIDIA, I put a bid at 131.50. Remember, we were at 131. That's kind of the level that we like. Amazon was the closest to breaking. We did have that 220 break out there, and it just didn't fill. We were lucky because I was punching the long. Now, a fade back into VWAP would be nice. That's 218 and change. I actually have a different VWAP on my e-signals. Oh, no, it's right there, sorry. 218, yeah, so there it is, so 218.50. Looks like we'll get an opportunity, and there it is, our first trade of the day in the books right now, and that is going to be Amazon. I'm gonna put an offer at 219, see if we can get out of 20-25% up there, but here comes Amazon right back in. Let's be patient though, man. We didn't write this down until 215 right there. So right now we're in the money on Amazon. It's a good position. Let's see if we can get 50 cents, and there it is, Neil, right there. Ooh, just missed us, but close to a 50-cent winner on Amazon. It is 70. Man, it got to 95 there. I am waiting at 219 flat. So let's see if that goes through. So right now, Amazon's the only position I have. Neil's on Mara, and we'll just wait, man. I mean, Palantir is rocking to the upside. You know, buying that 200 period that we talked about. Yeah, that was a trade there for sure. So missed opportunity. Let's just wait on Amazon and not get too excited about it yet.
Yeah, I was about to say Palantir, so I'm glad you did. I'm actually going to cancel my Palantir bid. Is probably useless all the way down underneath 89. Like, forget about it. At least for now, we'll have to look for something a little bit distinctly different. So Mara does break out the top just now. It's held on to 14 even. Prior bar low is going to be under 14.20 and VWAP as well. So we'll give it a few pennies underneath that 420, 14.20, and then see how far it can go. Keeping in mind, Mara, this break, resistance at 14.80 for short. So we'll get a couple of legs out in front of that. We just got 52s, going to get an offer in the 60s as well on the way to 14.80 and then 15. Let's go to Adara.
But now you're urgently. This is a small cap UOY. Penny stock here just shy of $1, announcing last night that they've entered into a new credit agreement for an asset-based revolving credit facility up to $20 million. They have about 11 million share float and a 5% short float for ULY. Back to you.
We'll have a big one so far. We'll wait to see if Amazon can go down. We take 50 cents on that. We're only out of 20% of it, so we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening. I'm going to start to bid again down here in and around 218, see if we can average into this one. I'm not playing Amazon anymore until, you know, like, if we break this low of 217, then I'm going to get out. So I'm just going to put this order in right now so I don't have to necessarily worry too much about it. 216.84, break on that one, we'll get out. So at least now the orders are set so we can sort of play this off how we want to. Let's just check out what NVIDIA is doing. 132 and change. So NVIDIA is actually pulling back in quite nice right now. Let's wait to see what this name has in store for itself. Now almost flat on the day. I mean, that's not a good look. Down to 131. I mean, if we break 131, then we can reassess. I said that the ultimate out's going. Okay. All right, so I should hear Adara. We'll see if we do next time. Test my earpiece then, Andre, if you can, maybe. Maybe that's the problem. Okay, right, so I don't hear that. So, okay. 132 to the downside. I'll fix it. 132 to the downside for NVIDIA. Remember, we are looking at a 131 bid. So I'm going to start the bidding at 131.50. We'll see what winds up happening here for NVDA. But so far, so good on Amazon. We're just chilling and waiting for this one. The market's doing nothing, Neil, so I don't really...
It's complete inside day on the overall market for sure.
Doing?
I see Lewis. Yeah, it is Lewis. Apple actually breaking out, so this one looking relatively strong. It actually was not that strong compared to the market, and it's still less than the S&P and the Nasdaq. Less than the Nasdaq. It's actually the same thing as the S&P, but strong move in there for Apple.
Got Riley back.
I was just back in and out at 132 on NVIDIA, but it just lost to 132. So we had 132 into 132 half. It then I then reloaded. It broke 132. Going to be out until we make a test of the 129 to 130 area. Mara just tagged 1480, that first resistance, and came out. So we got that target area right in here. It was 14.4 into that 14.8. We'll look for a continuation. The other thing that's going on here is while Mara has now made that move to the upside, Bitcoin is flat out not doing anything. Like nothing. Absolutely nothing happening on Bitcoin. It's Palantir that I think has gotten away from us. We like to the long. I still like a 24 quarter break, but I'd like to be into this to the long side a little bit earlier than that. If we can catch a VWAP, then we'll have to go for VWAP here on Palantir.
All right, man, there it is, man. B. Riley into this name again. So nice little move. Not again, for the first time. And again, this is a sticky note level, right? So there it is, 625. We wrote down there for Riley. And then we said, you know what? We're going to take that print. So there it is, man. We take it there. We took 640s. 625 is sort of the area that we were looking at. If it does drip down below that, then fine. But right now, a nice trade for me, on B. Riley right now, long at 640 up to 670. So hopefully all you small cap gappers and everything like that unite with me here as we trade Riley one more time. I'll start to get out a little bit. We take some out there at 67s again, and then we'll wait to see how high this name can fly. And there it is, Neil. It's another one. It's another money maker for everybody out there, 35 cents. So a nice 5-6% gain right here on Riley. So yeah, we're happy about that one, needless to say. And then Amazon's doing a whole heck of a lot of nothing. It does get a high as 220 there. We talked about that. I'm going to cancel that buy into 220 right now, and we'll wait for that stop out down through 217 if and when that does come in. We do have our first trade on NVIDIA, so ignite that one up. Wow, this Riley, guys, is really going to be a good trade for me. So let's take some more out at 90. There it is, Riley up that 23%. Again, as it was written right here, if you're looking for levels, 625 for Riley right there. Now up, Neil, like this is up like 15% from the posted level. So here we go again, man. Good day today so far. In the money on NVIDIA, already cashed out on Amazon, and we wait for this Riley to keep going.
Yeah, great look over there on Riley. I'm going to get right back into Mar if it gets us this reload. It's almost perfect. It goes right to resistance at that 1480 and starting to pull back in. VWAP's going to sit at the prior breakout price. That's the 14.4. So just look for an early bounce there. Palantir is absolutely on one right now. So I like VWAP in here. Anytime you have this strong of a move to the upside, still going to take the break if we take out 94 and a quarter. But until we get there, looking for the dip buy in the 92.6. As the market does nothing, I'm kind of reminded that I still want the short in AMD, and AMD doesn't want any part of getting near 106.5. AMD continuing, almost breaking the low of the day here. So yeah, wasn't too much I was looking at to the south side. This was one of them. Whenever this happens, I usually look to VWAP for an entry point. Don't want to get too far away. It's only 10 minutes in from our resistance at 106.5. Still want to give us a chance to get back into that price. But for now, AMD looking relatively weak. SMCI was the other name that we liked for a pop and fade. SMCI now down 7%. So it's not giving you anything in terms of a bounce back into the upside. NVIDIA, I like 129 is the next level. So I guess I got to look at this one suddenly on NVDAs. It's cruising down toward, it was like afternoon support levels. I mean, I wasn't there to trade them, but I mean, you can see it held this like 3 times, including the open yesterday. So looking for the mean revert here on NVIDIA. Want to short the pop on AMD and SMCI if there is even one. And Mara pulling back into VWAP as we speak for a reload potential. Same thing with Palantir and VWAP.
Yeah, so we, again, we put in the wrong price. We were trying to put in 129.50. Unfortunately, we got executed out, but we just punch, as soon as you do that, we just punch right back long. So we're long NVIDIA. This is the, we liked 131, but here it comes right now. Looks like it wants to break a little bit lower. As we had said, it was a little bit disappointing, right? I mean, when you're looking for 9% and you come out today and basically are flat throughout the whole morning, it's going to be a tough trade here for NVIDIA. We'll try it, and it looks like they're trying to buy this thing up, but at the end of the day, man, the longs seem to not be winning right now on NVIDIA. Will they eventually? I mean, we'll see. So let's get something out here as we start to rip out. Okay, Neil, here we go. Now, here we go. Nice little upside move here for NVDA. Let's start to make sure that, okay, we got some out at 50s. That might have been the pop. You are looking for rejection pops like that. So that's why we started layering it out. We're out of a third of this trade right there. So still could fall out, but take advantage of some of these pops there on NVIDIA, especially if you have some shares. Amazon is also dripping down into that 217, that's right. So that, the NASDAQ, look at the NASDAQ. We talked about what could possibly happen, days high into days low again. So yeah, everything right now getting cracked.
Yeah, the market's cracking lower for sure. I got that reload in Mara right off VWAP, and it looks like it's going to lose that 1420. We have our order the same place. I actually didn't even replace my stop order underneath 15, so it's just going to have to get out when we make that break. As a matter of fact, there it goes. So Mara on the reload, no good. First look, great. Second look, not so much. NVIDIA still hasn't done that reversion.
Go NVIDIA.
It's not that 129 yet, but it's just holding that 130. And back on over to PLTR, which lost 92s just now on Palantir. So I had a quick one at VWAP, but I'm not going to fight that stock. Pre-market support is $1.50 lower. So in and out very, very quickly off of VWAP on Palantir. Now looking to see if it can hold at 914. If it doesn't hold pre-market lows, I mean, I like 88 to 86 was the level that I'm watching on Palantir. But first things first, 129 in NVIDIA coming in rather quickly. So looking for the reversion there. Unfortunately, like I just opted not to chase AMD or SMCI. No point looking at them now because they're too far gone to the downside. Looking for any kind of a trend reversal here on NVIDIA. It's a very steep one, but the second it closes above the trend line, I'm looking for that long.
All right, you know, similar over there, man. We'll go 1 for 3 because Amazon lost that 217 area. We thought it was going to hold it. It's a good thing we didn't punch long in at 220, man. I mean, that would have been bad. So let's just wait for things to settle down a little bit. I mean, look at the Nasdaq. You know, he ain't our president, but you know, there it goes. A nice move to the downside there. Don't know exactly what's causing this, but obviously it's a flush down in some of these tech names today, including NVIDIA, right? I mean, NVIDIA and Amazon, both some of those darlings that traders were for sure looking at to try to make a difference. And where will the market bounce from? I mean, that's sort of one of the ideas. That bottom is 216.50 on Amazon, and we're right here right now. So that, you know, this could be something that's worth a little bit of a test. It's only 945 right now. So I do think that there's a chance that we can bounce off of this level. Okay, there it goes. So we'll try it again right now, but it doesn't look like Amazon wants to hold it too much. I'm excited for NVIDIA to break back above this level, but for right now, yeah, let it settle a little bit. That bottom seems to be 129.15 right now, so we'll wait to see if they can hold that. But yeah, here comes Amazon. Okay, we're just gonna again, not huge right now, but 215 is what we wrote down. So let's see if 215 is what Indeed wants to hold. So
before we go to Adara, SMCI is very close to being 10% down in SSR. So that one, potential SSR bounce incoming if we lose 46 on SMCI. NVIDIA is trying to break the trend, as Sean mentioned. So looking at these two as the market flops, almost red on the NASDAQ. Let's go to Adara.
With regards to a market catalyst for this drop, I couldn't find one, but it is worth noting about, I guess, an hour ago, as mentioned earlier, we did have Donald Trump basically restating these tariff dates. Mexico and Canada tariffs will go into effect on March 4th, and on April 2nd, that will be the reciprocal tariff date. So reciprocal tariffs April 2nd, a month after we get these tariffs on March 4th. This was restated before the open. Unsure if this is the reason for this drop as we basically try to break this pre-market low here, but a little bit of context here for the NASDAQ in case you forgot. Back to you.
Yeah, well, we didn't forget too much about those tariffs. I mean, I was just talking about them, like saying, like, what the heck is going on? But right now, NVIDIA, yeah, I mean, you know, again, we're fine with it. I mean, you gotta, I don't like to trade names too much on earnings days. We talked about that, but for NVIDIA, it fell right into our lap. So we took it, and unfortunately, it, we had to kick it off the lap real quick right there because it did drop through. And I'm glad that we were able to get out at 130 because right now this fade seems to be pretty real on AMD as we came in up like 2 or 3%. Right now you're down that 1 and a bit percent point. So yeah, and then obviously AMD. You're going to talk about being short on, like, why would you even be in the space if you're not in NVIDIA? So, yeah, I mean, people probably thinking the same way. Why be in this name if we don't have to be? So right now, there goes AMD to the downside. And I mean, yeah, if things are going to dry up in this space, it's not going to be good for many names. So we're going to have to wait to see what's happening right here.
If growth slows, the biggest deal for AMD and to an extent some others, is going to be that the overall space is huge and they don't have to get that big of the pie. If that slows down, I don't see that as a positive for AMD at all. The issue is, and I say this a lot, and on one of these days, sometimes if you like AMD short, you need to just be sitting in it in the pre-market, which is not something I usually do on those bigger cap names. Still looking at NVIDIA to try to close this above the trend line, which would be the first time. It's a steep one, obviously, and then here's SMCI for you. It didn't go down 10%, but it seems like it's catching a bit of a bottom at 46. I think there's at least a temp bounce starting to come in here. Let's see if I can't weasel in to steal one from Sharif in the halves on NVIDIA. Give it to the prior bar low as well. So Palantir's trying to make a move. It didn't get down to our price. NVIDIA is certainly making a bounce and looking to close this one above that 129. We like that support on NVIDIA at 129, but the market is looking very weak. If we get enough of a pushback to the upside, then I might get a chance at AMD at VWAP. Even if this goes green, I'm probably going to short this if we get to VWAP. And if we don't, I got to find my way into it somewhere. I can't if we end up with a red day and NASDAQ goes green to red, got to be in there somewhere on AMD because that's the one we like to the south side.
Amazon might just keep going downside right now. It was just really trying to get above 216 there, and it just kept on getting hit. So Amazon's coming back in. Well, like I said, man, we'll be sitting here to try it at 215. This is the level that we wrote, but if we break too much lower than this, then we are gone. We are now underneath the RSI of 30 down here right now, and we just took a bid, so we'll see if it can work back upside right now. I got to move my water. As we'll try to take off some pressure if it rips back up to the upside here, but we just saw. I feel like I saw enough, man. I mean, it was not. It didn't break above that 216 there, and I felt like it had that chance to go with the NASDAQ making that move, and the fact that it didn't right here, looks like they're going to continue to sell off Amazon. I mean, are they probably going to push this red and then maybe go green with it? But at the end of the day, that 214.50, it's just too much for me. So if it does, there it goes. So if it does break 215, we're out. So there's a 215 break now on Amazon. But let's just, like Neil was mentioning, I'm going to try to go backside on NVIDIA. If it breaks through 131, we're going to try to take that long as well. And it's a nice battle back there for NVIDIA, trying to come back through this 131 area. Let's see if we could do it. Amazon down here at 215. That was a level that we like, does not hold. Palantir, you had mentioned. Okay, so that's coming back
it's trying to revert
into
right
90.
Now.
I mean, we're bidding 90s. Let's see if that can work as well. But yeah, right now, NVIDIA and Amazon really on my mind.
Well, NVIDIA flew back through 130. So by the time it actually closed above trend, it basically flew $2 above the trend line. So not going to chase a down move, $2. If we get a pullback in a 129.5 somewhere in here, we'll try to grab that long. Palantir is trying to do a very similar thing. But let me just get on over to...
Wow, NVIDIA just flipped again.
Yeah, NVIDIA just came right back in. If it gets into the 129s, that's where I'll look for that bounce. But AMD just tried to go higher. And every single bounce is just getting sold off big time here on AMD. So I might just try to take a shot at it in the bottom end of the range and sort of give it to the opening range bottom is actually all the way at 104.80. But there was like some overnight printing, which we'll show you at prior close at 104.74. So I'm going to work off the prior close, 104.74 on AMD, and just short the next pop. You've got to take a shot at this one somewhere, and prior close is a pretty good place, and we can play it into the afternoon lows. If it breaks to VWAP, then we just take a couple of trades instead of one.
All right, will these futures go? That's really the question at this point. I'm going to take it long on NVIDIA at 129. I mean, what else is moving around here? So crypto down to 85. I mean, that's not going to be good for anybody today, as that's, we said it, man. The NASDAQ and crypto tied at the hip. So as you can see, nice downside move there in NASDAQ. Looks like IBIT right now trying to follow suit as well, making those lows, right? Low of the day right now for IBIT. Okay, well, we're into NVIDIA right now, and we're into Palantir. Palantir just came in through that level 2 through 90, so we'll see here. Looks like we're going to try to, I mean, if we break NVIDIA downside, we're just going to punch out. I'm not going to let this thing go. We did get long at 15s here. Let's see what we can do on Palantir, or on NVIDIA. Hopefully an upside push, Neil, and then we can get some money back. But for right now, okay, yes, big time money back now. Give me that money back right now. So nice little move for NVIDIA. We will take advantage of that. We're already out of half already of that play. That came into 129, man. I mean, we were going to stop out if it broke 129, and it almost did. So here it comes again. Again, take advantage. Like, it comes down, and then it gets smoked back up, and then it tanks again. So we saw that rip up to 131 there. Will it happen again? I don't know. I'm offering some 50s now to get some more out. There it is. Now we have exactly half left, and we can see if it wants to fly. I am not sure. All right, Palantir into 90s. So we're going to have to put a stop order in now. How about 89? How about 89.89 right there? We'll see if that can fill out there as Alexander McGillney comes into play here. So, yeah.
LaFontaine.
Just don't want to, yeah, well, LaFontaine would be 16, so hopefully that doesn't come in. But right there it is. So there's the breakdown. Again, not worth holding. We tried it. That was a small trade. That was my bid from the open. So we didn't have too much exposure to that play right there. So Palantir does fade through. Very small hit on Palantir. Actually pretty proud of how small that hit was. Not like it was on NVIDIA. We made back and then we just lost. So that last trade on NVIDIA actually pays out on NVIDIA.
Yeah, basically the same thing. Not to double down, but the 129 has, now it does hold again. Yep. So it broke 129 a second ago. It just came right back in. So if I get wicked out, I'm just going to get on the bid, reload it, still give it to the prior low on NVIDIA. The other thing tracking Wow, you've got to be kidding me. On that last bump,
I mean, Tesla's probably getting kicked.
I just chased, I don't know if you want to call it a chase, but it kind of was. Like I just chased down AMD to try and get the short in front of the prior close and just missed it. So I'm not punching the lows on AMD. At this point, I was already willing to short it like $1 away from VWAP, and we didn't get the fill, so not going to chase it. But just came right back into that 129 and NVIDIA. There's only two levels liked, really, the 32 and the 29. 29's at least attempting to hold, but it goes about 50 cents.
Home sales coming?
It goes like 50 cents, maybe like 70, and then we're already curling back in. So if we can't break 130, we're scalping to 130. As we're going to get pending home sales, I believe, in 8 minutes, not till 10 o'clock, I don't think.
No, yeah.
And Palantir, I like a reversion on Palantir, but it's not really all that close to giving us that. One more to come over to you guys with is you do have still a pretty decent range. Yeah, there goes NVIDIA.
Yeah.
We scalped it into the 129.5, but it couldn't hold it. So keep on getting out of this stock. Might still hold the level. Kind of giving it one more chance, but I'm not giving it to the actual low. I'm giving it to that 129, and then if it can close a candle above the 129, then I think that's the better shot because the mean reversion happened, got on the back end instead of the front end. Last one for you before I throw back to Sean. C3 AI was another earning name that we're interested in. It's actually not moving with this market falling. So I like to short at 25.25. Just a bit of a change of plan here. I might still short it if it gets up there, but it is 100% a reversal on C3 AI if it breaks 25.5. If you're not breaking the lows and you're already down 8%, and that's a big if because it's about to break the lows now, then suddenly you'd be showing a little bit of relative strength. Of course, as soon as I posit that idea, C3 AI joins its brethren through the lows right now. So it was holding to the bottoms, which I would like a breakout for, but you're not going to fight it too much. I'm going to kick myself over this AMD, I'll tell you that much. Advanced micro devices, when you like it short, you've got to just be short in the pre-market. And it wasn't that far away from the resistance level. Here, I'll give you the black chart because that's kind of frozen.
Oh, man, everything's...
You could have been short this, and again, I could have been short this at 106.20 if I was willing to take it at 9.11 or 9.12, right in around here. But now you're at the lows, maybe a flat bottom break here at 103.5 or next available pop. Thankfully, we're out of all the longs right now because this market is absolutely flushing. Adara?
This part of the show is brought to you by Oragenics, or OGEN. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., but there's still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Oragenics, or OGEN, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Oragenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. Back to you.
Hey, thank you, Adara. Yeah, we've talked about that brain health. We had Firefly on, Oragenics, all these guys on. And okay, so Google also down. I mean, Google's down to 171 right now, trying to make some lows as well. I mean, can we break out through there? 171.50 might be the top break for Google as well. So, oh boy, yeah, market be falling there today. I mean, we were... It's too bad because we were really just looking long. We got sort of horned up about Amazon. We really liked that play today, and then boom. And we were right early, man. Amazon's down $8. So, I mean, we talked about this yesterday. Joe loves the name. I mean, a lot of
everyone
us are liking.
Loves it. Nobody dislikes him.
Yeah. Well, someone dislikes this name for sure. Down $8 right now.
Dude, Meta's...
yeah, no, Meta's, they're all 213, maybe retaking that bottom. I'm still trying to go long because, again, I think the story's good here. It's just fading out with the market. That's 213, so maybe if we take 213 again, I mean, that's just right here. We could probably just do that up and down. Remember, new home, is it new home sales or let me just check out, or pending home sales, what we tweeted out there earlier today when we tweeted out the economic calendar. There it is right here. So at 10 o'clock, pending home sales coming out, right? So, and Fed Bar speaking also at 10 o'clock. You can go find that over on Twitter. Yeah, Riley, nice move back up to the upside. At least we're nailing this one today. Yeah, I know there's not too many winners here on the show, but hopefully Riley will be one for you. There it goes, a nice move upside there for Riley. Maybe Amazon starts to pump, but I'm going to wait. Pending home sales, 4 minutes.
Yeah, you still have some time. There's a few earnings names that have actually gone to the wayside that we haven't talked about. Snowflake, one of them, just pulled right back. It's still up 7%, but looking relatively, I mean, it's basically weak like everything else. Just very quickly going to show you. Didn't think this would come into play, so didn't even bother with it. $172 on Snowflake. It was up at 188. There's just no way that I would have expected that would come in. You got the 50 period on the daily there, and you have some prior resistance. But all of a sudden, it's looking actually possible that Snowflake could get down to that 50 period moving average. So got to be ready for it in case it does. It is absolutely, and sometimes the best you can do if you got a bunch of long ideas is to just not be in them. It's as simple as that. Like NVIDIA, traded it at the 2 levels I liked, and all you're doing is breaking lower. As a matter of fact, it just got to, I don't want to call it the bottom, but this was the local bottom 2 days ago, 126.5. It's basically mean reversion plays at this point for me. But I kind of like Palantir a little bit more because Palantir is at our go zone. It was between 86 and 88 because of the 50 period on the daily. That's right in here on Palantir. So if this one reverts, I guess it will be the second time that we jump into it. But want to have a nice tight entry if we can grab one now that it's in the target zone.
All right. Yeah, as I said, man, I think the only winner I have today is B. Riley, loser on NVIDIA, Palantir, and on Amazon. So we're going to have to wait to see if we can get something else going here. I'm going to look at Amazon because I really think this is a decent bottom here, forming out for AMZN right into some of these levels, 212-ish and change. I'm going to, again, like I kind of want to bust through that. At 240, let's try it small right here then. If we're going to think about it, we'll just punch into some at 37s. And remember, what's small? It's just I'm using 1 unit right here. I think that's better the way we talk like that because again, share size, as we keep on talking about, is much different. So I'm going to put on 1 unit here with a max position of 10. So it's not a very big position right now to start with on Amazon. I want to go short something, but I can't. It's about waiting for something to pop up into some levels where we could possibly short. So right now, I think the revert back to the long is probably like right there, right now. Let's just do it. Let's just get some out. Because there we go. We can ring the register here at 75 on this name. So we'll take 40 cents back. Let's get some more out right now at 80. There it is. So we'll take some more out upside now at 80. So here we go. So there's a 50-cent winner back on Amazon, and maybe it goes from here. So let's let this go just a little bit. We'll put an offer in and around that 213, like 25 area. Maybe we can get that and then let it go. There it is. So at least there's a little bit of a money trade right there for us on Amazon. So I know you had the winner with Mara there, and now you're into Palantir. So let's see. Looks like we're trying to both try to catch some of these reversions to the back end.
Yeah, less than a minute until we get that pending home sales number. But as quickly as it just come to Palantir, as quickly as it bounced off of the lows, gets to 88.25. Right back into that bottom here at 87.5. So the local low is just underneath 87.4. If we lose that, I'm jumping out. I'm not going to be fighting any reversion past the low of the day. You can get a bounce, but if you break that low, I'm jumping out of it. Don't mind getting back in, keep the stop tight, and if we ever get a VWAP bounce, it should be pretty big. But let's get to it, Derek, because we have numbers coming out now.
Pending home sales coming through here, negative 4.6% pending home sales change. That is quite a bit below the forecast of negative 0.85, but it is actually above the previous print of negative 5.5%. So again, negative 4.6% here for the home sales change month over month. Pending homes index coming in at 70.6 versus the previous print of 74.2. Also, Fed's bar starts speaking now here at 10 a.m. We're going to be getting this Fed's Bowman here at 11:45 a.m. Then we're going to be getting Fed's Hammock coming through at 1:15. So quite a few Fed speakers. This is what the NASDAQ looks like right now. Talk about a drop to the downside. I'm not seeing any news for this drop, though. Again, it is worth noting Donald Trump did remind that we are going to be getting these tariffs on Mexico and Canada March 4th, then reciprocal tariffs on April 2nd. That's the only thing I'm seeing pre-market really that could have precipitated this drop. MSTR here and these crypto names looking really similar. We know Mara had earnings. Bitcoin was poised for a bounce after a 4-day sell-off. And I believe Bitcoin's still slightly positive on the day, but these stocks that are related to the asset not looking great. Then we have these earnings names. CRM here, a little bit of these lower highs and a flat bottom for Salesforce. Snowflake, another big earnings name that was actually poised to be one of the strongest this morning, falling to the downside as well. So hard to find some strength in this market, even on names that looked promising heading into the session. Back to you.
Yeah, tell me about it there. I mean, I don't know. I was going to ask Neil, obviously got out of his Palantir there as that's dropping through. Our Amazon just dropped through as well through 212. So yeah, man, threat of recession. I see people saying that in the chat. I don't know. All I do know is that thank God for small caps, because there's Riley right there. It'll be your P&L number one by far on the day here, as it's the only winner that I have. So there goes Riley. I'm not sure what the story is over there with you, but for me right now, we're just waiting. Palantir, another move down into 86, and then that might have been the stop spot down there as well. So I don't know. I'm gonna try Amazon one more time now that that number's through us. So we'll see if we can get Amazon here. We'll try it. We didn't get that exact bottom. We just got stopped out through 212, but we're back into it right now. Let's see what winds up happening with Amazon. Hopefully a nice move here. We'll try to trade it back upside now, AMZN. But yeah, I've been getting hit on it. My number one P&L to the downside today is AMZN.
Yeah, for me, it'll still be NVIDIA. We just took more shots at NVIDIA. Oh, that's a really bad trend line. I hate it when that happens. As I'm drawing it, it puts a new candle in, which means I'll just get rid of it. But you're not actually threatening the top of this, so it doesn't matter at this moment. But Palantir does not hold at 87.5. We took it, was able to get a couple of legs out, but when it breaks the low, I'm still holding on to 2/3 of it. So tight stop, still red. It's still above 86, so I still like the mean revert play. 86 is that prior low the last couple of days, so just got to be patient. It's tracking toward a potential reversion, and then same thing here with NVIDIA. That just did it again. All right. There it is. NVIDIA right now just closed above that trend line since it broke VWAP, so the last bounce, which we took it on the wrong side of, we'll see if we can't get it on the right side on NVDA. Now that 126 starting to hold, and we've closed above the prior trend line, down 3.5% into a bleeding market. Well, you got lots of activity. Certainly came back to some action, and if you like the action, then hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let us know what you guys are trading, because I see a few names in there that we haven't looked at. I just saw McDonald's high a day. I guess that's where some of the strength is. The rotation could be on. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, and then maybe NVIDIA will go up.
Yeah, NVIDIA, I hope it goes up for your sake. But yeah, for right now, man, I mean, it's all about Amazon for me. And we have the biggest position all day here on it. And I don't know, I mean, we're taking it out on the upside here. If this rips up, then we can forget about what we've done all day, because this will make the difference for me. So there it goes, man. You never know the timing. Like I knew we wanted to wait a little bit until after the imbalances, after that number came through. So pretty happy with what we're doing right now. But again, like, needs to go, right? So if we can get back above, I'd look to get some more out. I mean, we're getting, look, just to show you guys, like we took a hit there, but we did buy it back. So now it's starting to go back up. Our best out there is 75s. Like to let this thing try to go. Futures now finally, I mean, maybe trying to get that going. Again, pretty epic flush down there 1%, as the market really just does digest. Again, tariff talk there, the Chinese, that extra 10% that was sort of slapped on there out of nowhere. I don't think a lot of people were expecting that one. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. This is the game that we play now, that we have to keep our ear to the ground. We got to make sure that we are following any of these sort of wacky little plays out there that can just pop in and out of your blotter. So here it goes, man. Nice trade for me on Amazon. Let's see if it can get right back there to that north side. So the sky is falling, says Cameron, and I think you're right there in the chat. That is for sure. Really glad, man. Riley's still going to be the #1 stock, but again, B Riley just hanging out. We got a 720 fill. We are only in now 15% left of Riley, as all the concern and all my look goes right here to Amazon.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I think we're going to go to Darren in a quick second if I heard right, but we're in two reversions, NVIDIA and Palantir again. So there's NVIDIA. Clearly, look, 129 was the level that we liked before for a long, so we bounced into 129. That's an out for sure. Palantir just broke trend as well. So there you go, just broke trend, holding above 87, broke the prior bar at 87.5, stops underneath 87. It just got to 88. This is exactly where the sellers came in last time for the long. They started to revert it back to the downside. So if it can hold, I want to see if it can break this out and get us to 89 on Palantir. I'd say it's weaker. That's not saying much. Palantir weaker than a lot of things right now, down 1.5%, but the steepness of its downtrend is pretty clear. Tesla actually with a pretty good bounce already. This one tracking well towards VWAP in the 290 level. Tesla came very, very close to the 200 period on the daily, within like $2 of the 200 period on daily. As far as I'm concerned, I think this is a 200 daily bounce. on Tesla right here as we speak. But I'm in NVIDIA and Palantir. Didn't see that one, and by the time I looked at it, Tesla, it was already a couple of dollars up. Now we're tracking to 128 on NVIDIA. Target's 129. That was the prior support level. I look for that to turn into resistance here and then jump out. So either we get to 129 or we break the uptrend and I trail out of NVIDIA. This trade can't turn into a losing trade, although the first long was.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Yeah, we'll go over to Adara, but Amazon's moving around here as well. So what's up, Adara?
I looked into McDonald's here, and we do seem to have a catalyst for this. So we know yesterday, late in the day, we heard some talk that apparently the company was going to be resisting this extra egg charge and offering a $1 McMuffin deal. They did release a statement to this effect. So for some context, other breakfast chains like Waffle House and Denny's have added an egg surcharge just due to the extreme price of eggs. As of late, McDonald's saying, no, not only are we not going to have our surcharge on our eggs, we'll actually offer you a $1 McMuffin deal. McMuffin, of course, involving eggs. So MCD apparently pleasing egg-eating consumers here. This one getting a push to the upside. I'm not seeing any other catalyst on this name, and it is worth noting its outside strength compared to the rest of the market. Back to you.
Yeah, we talked about that egg story a couple of days ago, so it's nice to see that there's some follow through there on McDonald's. And I mean, get diversified. My portfolio is diversified in different names, but well overweighted in tech names. So it's been a rough little go for the last little bit there for sure. But man, we've made back more than half of our day right now just waiting for this Amazon. So let's try to be as patient as we can with this trade as well. So now Amazon trying to go. It's already been $1 in the money. And again, it's big. It's big. So I said this yesterday. I was sort of ranting with Jose, Adara, and Obi last night, and Joe was here, and it was just like, if you're gonna actually trade, you should actually trade. And I mean, let's just wait to see if Amazon can go. So we just, again, when you get hit, you get hit. You got to get out. But putting on a big position down here, which this probably the biggest Amazon position maybe the show's ever had, and I'm going to continue to do that. Like we've been printing, we've been having huge trades and great trades. So once there's a level that I feel good about, we're going to try to layer into it and then try to do something like this and make a difference, right? Because if you just take small hits everywhere, you're never actually going to make any money. So you're going to have to hold something against you a little bit to let it work out, because most of the trades that you get into, you're not going to get the perfect price. So you're going to have to wait sometimes to let it develop. And then, so that's my strategy there, is to take, obviously bigger positions, let it see if it can go, take tighter stops, but at the same time, give it a little bit of room. And that's what we're trying to do right now with this trade as well. So I'm sitting now at the high of this wick where we've already gotten out at 213.40. So hopefully we can get a fill there at 213.40. And then honestly, man, let's make this make its way back up to 214, 215. So there it is right there. Actually, it was at 30, sorry. So we get that fill. I wish it was at 40. We take a little extra 10 cents there. So here goes Amazon. Now my next offer is at 213.85. So let's see if this one wants to work out right here. So nice move back to the upside now for Amazon. We're going to let it go. So we'll wait to see if it's going upside or not. But Amazon, let it breathe a little bit now. Now in the money, $1.30 and starting to go.
Yeah, and the market is making a very, very nice bounce for sure. We just bounced off 2009 on the NASDAQ, which is very, very coincidentally, not really, Tuesday's low. So you have a nice little wick bottom. Let me zoom it back in so you can see. There's your wick bottom underneath that Tuesday low. If we can close it above, I think you might have the low of the market here. Palantir is holding that 87, so it goes right into that 86 to 88 zone, trying to come outside of it to the upside. If we get into VWAP, we want to take that one out. NVIDIA, however, NVIDIA trailed out, broke trend back into the downside after getting in off that 126. So we're going to hold on to Palantir, giving it into VWAP. NVIDIA, we did get a green trade on that one, but obviously it's our third time. So 1 for 3 on NVIDIA. Palantir, hopefully we can get a little bit higher. I still am looking over at that C3AI. And it never broke the bottom. Down 8%. I know it's down 8%, but never broke the low. While the market's breaking down, it did not break the aftermarket lows. If this can break out above VWAP, and suddenly it could be a little bit of a squeeze name. They still have a decent enough short float on C3AI. But anything that didn't break the low just there and held it, I want to look for some reversions that I might not have thought about at the open or in the pre-market. So let's get the push here. If we can break 89, I'm going to trail this one back underneath this trend line here. Otherwise, hold on to the 89 level for Palantir. So we're able to get that long. Just had to wait for our level to come in, take 3 shots at it. Third one's a charm.
Yeah, third one's a charm on Palantir, that's for sure, and it's like the 10th one's a charm now on NVIDIA, on Amazon, finally up there into 214. So I'm gonna take another offer right now at 214. We talked about trying to hold this, trying to have those hands, and that's exactly what we have right now. What's up, Hamster? You want to get a little review of what's been going on here with the new caterers? Not bad. You know, I feel like we have the salad. I feel like they've been worse, in my opinion, so far. But yesterday we did have, and Joe loved it. We had a great piece of salmon. It was like a teriyaki salmon. I love salmon. Yeah, so that was really good there yesterday. So I told that to our lunch lady there, and she made notes of that. So I told her that the salmon was well done. The breakfasts, nah. I mean, those sandwiches, they're okay. I'm not impressed with the bread quality or anything like that as well.
That's what I did too. I just eat the sausage. And
yeah, exactly. So there's that going through there. Yeah, good, man. They have good muffins. Yeah, not bad. We'll see what happens. I think the lunches have been pretty good. A lot of people have liked them. And the thing is, we had the same caterer for like 2 years or so, and sometimes it's nice to get that switch up. And oh boy, Neil, here we go, man. Like I said, I'm not proud to always have the biggest losers, but this winner here, at least we talked about trying to hold it. We talked about trying to get long down there at 212, and oh boy, here we go, man. This has completely changed my day again. Man, if we just stopped trading and wait till 10 o'clock, we would just be, I don't even, the damage that we're putting right now on the freaking board is just absolutely monstrous. So what a monster trade here, Neil, for us on almost $3 right now on Amazon, and we're not messing around. We told you that we're here to trade. We're here to make some money. So Obi, Joe, Adair, and everybody, just as we talked about it last night, man, we come in and we do exactly that damn thing right now with Amazon. So there it goes, man. Monster trade on AMZN there. You had to wait for it, and I mean, look, taking all those cuts are what they are, but there's a nice move upside now for Amazon, and we're right back to where we need to be. So let's get this day started now, basically. I mean, rough start, but yeah, there it goes. Amazon, I mean, we could really fly on this. We still have about, I'm not even sure. I've traded thousands of shares of Amazon today, and I don't know what percentage we have left, but it's an upside move right now for Amazon.
Yeah, that's what I love to see. Go get it over there. I'm out of Palantir. We're green on Palantir. We'll go 2 for 3 this morning. It's just about being patient and just sticking to your plan of action. You know, if you have a price level, the market was absolutely dropping like a rocket. So you take a shot at a strong stock when it's at VWAP, and then if it doesn't give you another trade, you don't take another trade. And all you had to do is wait for it to make that low. It was 2 days ago when it showed it to you. Whether or not it can get all the way to VWAP, like we have an inside day, but look at how weak this is. It goes right into yesterday's lows, and then immediately starts seeing some selling action come in. So we just grab our buck and have no issues getting out of this at this point. I still like some AMD to the south side, but I got to be careful because this market is reverting. So AMD, still a weak name. I want to go over to NVIDIA quickly for everybody. As NVIDIA, I got out of it when it kind of broke that trend very, very briefly and trailed out of NVIDIA. It's putting in another lower high. So you're at the point now on NVIDIA where you've got the underneath VWAP a couple of times in here, and it's set up a little bit of a lower high trend. If that can break out to the upside, it gives another place to try to jump into a quick little trade because the NASDAQ has managed to hold the bottom. And as I said, the other name that I'm interested in is going to be this C3 AI. Bit of an undercover, did not break the lows, showing a little bit of strength, held on to aftermarket bottoms. C3 AI also, and again, I don't care necessarily about the fundamentals of the earnings. They're 19% short float, and when the market broke lows, it didn't break the low, and this has a decent chance to break trend while also simultaneously holding VWAP. So if you're able to break it out above this top, it'll be like 24.6. I can give it to the prior bar low. On C3 AI, if you can risk 25 to 30 cents on a trade, you know it can move a heck of a lot more than that. So we'll see if it's going to be able to go here. Going to set that breakout order just to make sure we grab it on C3 AI. And that's sort of the thing. You know, you've got to find, to me, you always want to find a setup that gives you a good R&R, where you know where you're wrong, where you feel like you're getting in at the right time, Otherwise, you just find yourself trading at, you know, prices and areas that don't end up mattering. Like, that's what it's all about. Like, find your opportunity to get in, get out, stay green, because it can be a tough one, but as long as you stay in the pocket, it's not that hard to get back into green with 1 or 2 trades out there. So C3AI, I feel like that's going to be the next one for me. And no matter how strong we get, AMD at VWAP is still going to be a thing. At least it is for me. You're still underneath prior close. 104.74 was the level we wanted to work off of. So we'll still take that one short if it wants to present itself to us on advanced micro devices. But new position, it's an earnings name. It's a potential squeeze name. I don't necessarily know what they do. We always joke about that with C3AI, but it doesn't really matter. It's broken the trend. It's above VWAP. We'll play it into that 25 and 25 quarter and see if this one can fly past that. So I'm just going to get some orders out to make sure that we're scalping it from VWAP into resistance with my stop underneath that 24.40 on C3AI. So far, so good over here. And like I said, hit that like, hit that subscribe. One of the reasons I love this community is I wasn't looking at McDonald's. A lot of people will talk about symbols that maybe we haven't paid attention to. Maybe there's a small capper that you've been trading or interested in. That's what it's all about. Find the right opportunities in the best stocks. And you never know what it's going to be. Just because you had an idea at 9:30 or at 8:30 in the morning doesn't mean that's still the best place that you want to execute and take your trades. I think this morning was a perfect example of that. So everyone hit that like and subscribe. I see Bang Apple from TS Booger. I love that name. TS. Apple was so strong earlier, and it's one of those undercover type moves where it holds the low, and this is one of the reasons I like that C3AI reversion, actually holds the low while the market's breaking lower. So if you don't make fresh lows when the market does, it just gives you a little bit of extra juice to like that long where you're not necessarily fighting as much. So shout out to you over there on Apple. It's distinctly different from C3AI as it's also a good fundamental play. This is just about, I think it can squeeze because it was down 7%. I can't seem to get that first fill. Oh no, there we go. I was about to say I can't seem to get that first fill at 77, and then the second I pull up the chart, I get filled at 77. So AI, first new stock for me. We'll play it into this 25. Gonna hold on to 20% to see if it can break out 25 and a quarter, and then go from there.
Oh, man. Wow, just ran into Mateo, told him never sell. All right, I mean, we're just, got T. Just waiting to see what Amazon does, man. I mean, what other stocks you guys want to talk about? You want to talk about Tesla? Let's go over to Tesla right now. All right, so 288. All right, that 282. I mean, if you're going to talk about anything, we had mentioned this the other day. Everybody's smart until they actually put a trade on, right? I mean, Randy was here. Everybody was here talking about, like, we really like this 280 for Tesla. So if you like the 280 for Tesla, then you're probably pulling the trigger right around now. That was a good move right into 280. Again, that's the 200 period moving average, right? I mean, that's going to be a good opportunity. That could be another bouncing spot there for TSLA. So watch out for that. I would sort of play off that bottom wick if we're able to get back into 281 today. I mean, it's a nice recovery, man. You're up now $7 from that bottom. Obviously, we chose Amazon, waiting for a $7 move there too. If that could happen, then that would be great. And we'll be right back to where we need to be. All right, what's moving around? Shopify is moving around right now. We can have a quick look to see what that's doing. Yeah, sure, in a second there, Andre, my guy. Shopify up to 113, so, you know, looking to break through VWAP there would be a decent trade. I was just trying to see what's hitting on some of these scanners. And again, Shopify on the 5-minute chart right there into the 200 period moving average. So, you know, right now, a lot of these names are actually at shorting spots. You know, the futures have come all the way back up, and a really nice move, right? I mean, that bottom was 20,900. You're up to 2109 right now, so 100 points straight there to the upside. What's the ES doing? NASDAQ down, ES up. So ES right now up 0.04 into a NASDAQ that does remain downside. So, all right, I'm gonna take another piece out right now of Amazon as it's trying to fade off the 50 period moving average. You can have diamond hands as long as you want. But at the end of the day, you have to trade your book. The only one that knows how many share sizes we have is us. And so I'm going to start to piece them out, man. We still do have, and again, like I said, I'm not sure what I have from the bottom, what percentage I have left, but I would say probably 15% right now. So we're just going to start to trim some of this as it goes back up. And Amazon saved the day for your boy. That is for sure. All right, Adara at the desk.
We're doing the small cap recap from here today because there are just so many small caps. I want to really go through all of them. We're going to start here, though, with the IWM. Much like the market, kind of starting looking pretty positive, and then we get this drop here. We first get this drop around 845, then we drop further here at the open, trying to recover, almost back to flat here. And 216 right now would be kind of an interesting area in terms of a whole dollar area. We dropped actually as low as 213.5. So IWM still struggling, but trying to bounce as of right now. So we'll start here with MLGO, which is a repeat offender, as Sharif would put it. This is a small cap that has run frequently, especially lately. It's a Chinese ADR with a 4.5 million share float and a 24% short float. I could not find a catalyst on micro algo today. Then we've got this QNRX. This is QON Pharmaceuticals here. This is an American name with a 4.575 million share float, so just shy of 5 million shares, announcing that their whole body data from their ongoing pediatric Netherine syndrome study. So apparently this data positive, QNRX, pushing to the upside. Then we have LZ, LegalZoom, the first of a couple small cap earnings plays. LegalZoom here with a float here of about 111 million shares. So larger float, larger market cap, about $1.84 billion. Beating on EPS and sales estimates. Warby Parker here, WRBY, was their other big earnings small cap. This one a little bit more volatile. They actually did miss on EPS and sales, but they have an 11% short float. And promise I'm almost done here. Last but not least, PDSB, 11% short float for this name with about a 36 million share float, announcing a $2 million registered direct offering. So they've been on watch because of that. So many small caps to look at today, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara, and shout out to Luis for going over some of those. Every other Thursday, we have Luis on trading heavily in those small cappers. Market is coming back nicely. This will be able to turn us green for sure. By the way, I want to get to Tesla. Quick adjustment on AI. Someone popped 125,000 on the bid at the prior bar low right here at 24.60. It's a break of trend anyways to the upside, so we're just going to move our stop from underneath 40 to underneath 60. Still have the next offer in front of 25, and then we'll hold to see how far it can go. But Tesla looking incredibly strong, now punching through VWAP as we speak. This market is definitely on one. All right, AMD, this is probably going to be our chance. It's still hanging out at the lows. If this is going to get a press with the market, if the market goes green, I expect AMD should be able to get to VWAP, and we'll take our first short of the day on this bad boy. It was this, and it was SMCI. Those were the two names that we liked. Southbound. SMCI is now SSR down over, it went well over 10% to the downside. So it's SSR. That'll make me like AMD just a little bit better for the fade. But SMCI also going to be at VWAP.
We didn't look at Big Bear AI. Out more at 215, man. We were talking about the threes, man. Like Steph Curry over here, $3 in the money right now. So let's see what winds up happening. All right, so Big Bear does not, I mean, we weren't, I have the break of 625. I mean, that's what we wrote down. That was nowhere near. I mean, obviously, as the market came in there, Big Bear got crushed as well to the downside. I don't know, you know, we talked about wanting to buy this at the 50-period moving average. We've been buying it, so our average price, I'll find out for you and I'll get back to you on the after show, on the afternoon show, and we'll talk about what my average price is on Big Bear. I'll probably buy a little bit more today. I still like the stock down here, so pretty good. And I'm already loaded up in all of these names, so yeah, BB, nice up again, yeah. Okay, again, more and more outs there on Amazon. We said we had about 15%. We got more out there at 215. So I'd say we probably have about, again, about like 12 or so % left of that bottom pick. So let's look for something else. Right now, we did talk about Shopify. Let me have a quick look back in on that name because I don't mind when things are dancing around here. We got well extended, man. I mean, every stock probably RSI broke at one point there in and around 10 o'clock. I mean, to rewound the clock and take advantage of some of those dips. I mean, we did do it with Amazon, like I said. But at the end of the day, could have really bought anything at that bottom, including the Shopify down there to that 110 area. So, yeah, look. I'd rather see it break and hold. So for me, for Shopify right now, again, I like the stock. It's only down 0.7, which is actually more than the NASDAQ. So maybe it's not that great. I'm looking at it right here. That's why I wanted to look at this again to show everybody. This 113 break, that's not horrible. It does have that chance to get back to 114 if it does hit that, and then you can use your 200 period as your stop. So stop would be 112.50 on a 113 break for Shopify. I mean, that came in yesterday. There again, I stopped the chart. So I mean, at the end of the day, we closed yesterday on this name. This is a 5-minute chart, so nice little close up here around 114. Think we can get back going, but again, more negative than the market. So watch out for a 113 break. Came up on the scanners, right? I mean, we've got Meta on here, Oracle, Affirm, Broadcom, Boeing, Broadcom again. So Broadcom must be bouncing off of something. And again, what a surprise. I mean, on NVIDIA day, there's going to be Broadcom talk. Neil's looking for AMD. I'm looking for NVIDIA and Broadcom, one of those names again. Like, yeah, so this is probably what it's hitting for me right now, why we're seeing it, hitting the 50-period moving average. So Broadcom right now dancing back and forth. It looks like it wants to go. We can see if we can trade some Broadcom. NVIDIA, choppy and nasty. This will be my #1 stock to the downside there today. And we just took a couple shots, really in the pocket for me. We didn't lose any more than we're comfortable losing on NVIDIA, which is pretty good. But look at the short, though, off the 50-period. You know, you got to break this clean. And when we do, then maybe it goes. So a clean break for me is 129. Like right there, like not just right here. That's 128.50. The problem is you go long 128.50, you run into the top that we've already seen hold. So yeah, I'll probably put in a long into the account. It's already 10.27. So we can put that order in to see if it pops through, and if it does, we'll take it. But right now, I don't feel like catching a falling sword. I'd rather play momentum back upside on NVDA. So I think we'll put that trade in, a break of 129 on NVIDIA. We like that. But realistically, man, I mean, we're saved by Amazon. This was an absolute monster trade. We told you, you know, a bigger position. We've traded, again, more share. We've traded double the amount of shares on Amazon than we did on NVIDIA today, although we're still in the thousands for NVIDIA. Amazon is what we're looking at right now. So 215, put another offer there. If we can get it, great. My next offer after that is 215.12. So I'm going to sit there. Let's sit on like the Bats Gateway or something. Take a fill if it goes back upside. We'll just put out about 10% out. And if we can get that, then good on that. But that's what I'm dealing with. If there's anything else you guys want to look at, then we'll go from there. But NVIDIA, Palantir, Amazon, Riley, and BBAI. Riley going to be the P&L number. Despite all this trading, Neil, Riley will be P&L #1. And that came in real early and it just kept on going to the upside. So good trading there on Riley. Again, who would have thought that would be our #1 stock? But it's Riley.
Who would have thought Visa and MasterCard would be so strong? I've seen like 5 people in the chat now asking about Visa and Microsoft in here. Adara, I believe, well, I don't know if she responded, but was asked, is there any news? I didn't see, there's nothing in particular there on either one of those names. I'm going to get to HIMS in a second because that's a heck of a V-shaped recovery. So I've seen no news for Visa and MasterCard, but I think you're looking at the right idea when you're finding the relative strength. So whether you pull up Visa or MasterCard, both of these incredibly strong. It's fresh highs, it's a breakout, you know, blue sky setup here on Visa. But as you might have noticed, I'm looking at HIMS because, again, let's just keep it really simple, did not break prior low, had a huge V shape, and is now taking out, at least attempting to take out yesterday's highs with a sizable gap above that 44 here on HIMS. So it's doing a little bit of a pullback off of that high break. If it can bounce off VWAP, I want to join this to the long side. It's a squeezable type of name. It's a similar setup to what we just did with C3AI, only with C3AI, we did it off VWAP, quick scalp trade. This one just distinctly stronger with a similar early look. Let's go to Adara.
We're going to talk crypto, but also I did look into Visa, MasterCard. I'm not seeing anything on either. I apologize. I didn't see it in the chat because I'm not checking as frequently during these opening hours. But I will check on social media. There's zero news, though, to suggest any move on Visa or MasterCard that I can say. Now, let's talk about Mara, because Marathon Digital was actually an earnings name, initially really strong here. We opened and basically initially pushed to the downside right off the open. So what happened here? They did actually beat on earnings per share. As Sharif mentioned, it was quite a hefty beat, $1.24 versus 68 cents expected. Sales also a beat. Their revenue for the fiscal year was actually up 69% year over year. And apparently the direct energy cost per Bitcoin mining came in at $28,000. They mined 2,492 Bitcoin during the quarter and purchased 15,574 Bitcoin. So those are their Bitcoin numbers. That is the deal there with MARA and their earnings. Bitcoin here itself looking continuously like this very bearish kind of rounded top type look. We did get a bit of a double top, of course, when we made that new all-time high, then pushing to the downside. We're right now, we're still poised potentially to break a 4-day selling streak, but some of that initial optimism and push to the upside this morning has waned quite significantly. Ethereum's actually down about 5% here, back to this 2,300 level. XRP down 4%, BNB 2.5%, Doge about 1%, Cardano about 2.3%. So nothing significantly weak, but all a little bit subdued to the downside today, guys. Back to you.
Subdued, I like that term.
2740s. Yeah, good term. So, again, we talked about getting more out of Amazon. It's the only position I have. I mean, the Riley position, that's already been a good one. I mean, we'll wait. Should have shorted this. The market rallied all the way back. What's my dog doing? Oh, there it is. Nice. Today, my dog's watching the show on the laptop right here. My wife just sent me a picture. All right, $77, $78. Right now, I'll show it to you. Open image in new tab. Yeah, it's just right here. Hard to see, but there's her resting her face on the table. But she needs to get a haircut, girl. Okay, so actually, no, don't. It'd be probably too expensive. All right, so $78.
Where's the cuteness?
Yeah, the cuteness is unreal. I know you guys have gone back and forth, and I know some people in your family don't want to have dogs, but like, wow, that's instant love, man. Everybody that has a dog, like, amazing. I had Guido, the Italian pug, and now we have Belle, and she's a cockapoo, and honestly, without her, well, she just means so much to our family. Anyways, those of you that have dogs know what I'm talking about, and I know Brendan is well very, very fond of said animal. Okay, so yeah, look, for the NASDAQ, right up there into 7750, I really, really like that level. So if we can break there, 7750, I think that we can go short. The VWAP's at 7777 or so. So if we can get it back upside, I do like that short. The market traveled real nice back upside right now. There's no more numbers coming. We do have some Feds going to be rolling out a little bit. We had Barr at 10. I don't know what's going on. I still have these guys in my ear. I'm not really hearing anything right now. So if there's anything that talks, Dara's sort of brought us. We talked a little bit about that. I dropped you the knowledge of those 10% tariff and everything in the pre-market when we looked at FXI. And that seems like that's going to be hitting China again, obviously, as we worry about some of the chip names, and we worry about NVIDIA today, and we worry about Amazon and all of this, because today NVIDIA real negative off that report.
Yep.
It was positive. People were thinking pretty good about it. Then the real money came in, and then this is what's happening. And right now, you're right back to days low on NVDA. So a big whoosh in that name as well here today. So I don't know, like for me today, it's been a little bit of a rough day. We'll hold on to this Amazon. I'll be red. I'm not sure what Neil's up to, but at the end of the day, we're just gonna wait for Amazon. We're not red that much or anything like that. It's a good thing that we did get that Amazon back. I am waiting. And again, it's like, look at the 50-period moving average, right? It's like I said, I didn't want to go long until we broke above it. And that seems to be like the right play. I don't have a problem trying to go long now against this bottom in case the market does turn around. We've seen NVIDIA get juiced up. Another name that's been juiced up, obviously, is Tesla there today. I mean, that just came right up to the 200 again. And this is what I mean about trading less names. It's like if you're just sitting here looking at Tesla, you probably would consider that short. You might have got burnt off the short right there as well, but nice move there for Tesla, straight up to the upside. I'm going to dance with the devil a little bit here on NVIDIA, take a 65 fill, 66 fill there, and see what winds up happening. That low of the day is not 123.56. It is 125.20, let's say 125.25. So you're right down there. We still have a little bit of a ways to go. So as we said again, I'll start this trade. The last time I started a trade with 10% or a 1 unit, it did not work out. Here, this one's coming right back in as well. So let's see if it wants to work out for itself. We did get some more Amazon out for $2. We got a lot of it out up here for $3 at $2.15. Let's see if Amazon and NVIDIA both want to hold. All right, what's not holding though? It looks like crypto. Yeah, and HIMS, I guess.
Well, okay, HIMS did not hold the high, but now we got to wait for maybe to get into VWAP on him. So it did not hold that high breakout, as you can very clearly see, rejected 45. It's still pulling back into VWAP. You just saw the market starting to pull back as well. So just got to be a little bit patient. It's a relatively strong name. I shouldn't say something like super strong, but I'd like to be able to get this either at VWAP or we can just hold this prior bar high at 43.86. Close it above 44 and look for that long with a tight stop, and then play it back into yesterday's high. Simple way to put it. Let's go to Adara. Ooh, 1036.
Go A.
We're going to talk here about NCLH because they actually were an earnings play, sold off with the rest of the market this morning, but bouncing a little bit. And it looks like we are having some comments coming through from their executives right now, the company saying that they're seeing no pullback in onboard spending. So onboard spending apparently is cruising as normal for NCLH. Also, I want to talk about Visa and MasterCard. I looked into this. As I mentioned earlier, no news, but a lot of social media attention for both. And we're talking multiple tweets a minute, which you usually don't see for names like Visa and MasterCard. Looks like there's a bit of social media attention, which usually suggests that we have some retail investors watching. So retail investor interest, as far as I can tell, is what's motivating Visa and MasterCard here. But of course, if I see anything else, I will let you guys know. And we are brought to you today by eSignal. Traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right, we're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize, because our platform is everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts predicted with back testing, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips. All in one platform, so do not miss out. Execute your best trades now with eSignal. Are you ready to elevate your trading? Scan that QR code or click the link in the description. Back to you.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, at least we got it now. I mean, there goes NVIDIA. We're now 50 cents in the money. We just put this trade on. I mean, I hope some of you are taking some of it out, as I am. Our best out is 127.15. So I'm taking more. There it is. Oh, it's on 127.15 right now. Let's put another offer right there. Let's go to 11s and see if we can get that out right there. There it goes. So it's a nice play again for us there. Yes, Neil, another play right here for us coming through on NVIDIA. We're here, man. We're live. We're doing it live. We're putting these trades on live. There it goes. So I don't know if you want to discuss your most recent position, but there's NVIDIA, Neil. We just put it on into Dollar Club. Welcome to the Dollar Club, NVIDIA. There it goes, man. Boom goes the dynamite here as we bring the energy no matter who. What's up, Sharif? Hope you're doing well as well. That always smells so damn good, man. But here we go. It's a nice move. It's another Dollar Club winner. We have $3 on Amazon. We've got $1 here on NVIDIA. Go kill him with kindness, Neil.
Yeah, we'll kill him kind of great. We'll look over there on NVIDIA. I can't even tell what's in that bowl, but you're right. It smells delicious. Sharif just showed it to me, and I have no idea what's in there. It just looks like
tons of rice.
Is it rice? There's got to be protein in there somewhere. Anyways, it does. No, but he puts it in the microwave, and then the entire trading floor smells.
It's eggs, Neil. Eggs.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
No, from a distance, it looks like rice. Shout out to Trade Ideas, apparently as well. It does smell delicious.
My wife killed it with this crazy salad yesterday, man. I am so blessed. Every day I'm like, man, thankfully you said yes, man. That is for damn sure. Okay, so Amazon right now, nice backup move again for them. Let's take out some more pieces here on Amazon. Wow, what a big day, man. Riley, again, a good day for us. Amazon, we turn our frown completely upside down with $1 here on NVIDIA. So let's just go. I'm going to hands up in the air, and let's just wave it like we just don't care, and go. It's going to be a big day for us. I'm already feeling it, and I hope you guys are as well. So, yeah, going to be a big one there. And I'm going to, I saw a meme the other day, and it was like the guy got his hair cut, and then he paid his barber in eggs. And I thought that was pretty fun to see that. I might take a little dozen over there to Halim and see what he's up to.
I'm sure he'd appreciate
these days right now as well, man. I got a family to feed, man. We got to watch out for that. Go to Costco, grab some eggs, and start paying people off with some poultry type products. So, all right, nice move to the upside right now for everything. We're here, we're live, man. We're being who we are, and hopefully it's going to be even a better day than what we've seen so far, and I think that's about to happen because we're going over to the big screen with Adara.
As usual, the tech sector really driving the market. What's fun about the sector board is you can kind of see not only what the whole market's doing, but What is leading to this directionality? We are still a little bit red on the NASDAQ, and with that in mind, really the only sharply red sector is going to be tech. NVIDIA, Broadcom, both selling off here. Of course, NVIDIA earnings day one. Apple trying to hold down the fort. Cisco looking pretty nice as well, but NVIDIA really winning out here. Then we have technology services, which is oddly pretty flat, but there is some weakness in CRM on earnings day one. Netflix, Google, and Oracle selling off as well. Meta and Microsoft not doing too much of anything so far. Finance incredibly strong here across the board. BRKB leading the way. JPM, we have the Bank of America, all really strong. And of course, as mentioned earlier, Visa and MasterCard both looking great here as well in commercial services. So it looks like this might be a finance-related play to the upside. Consumer services, great. Health technology, great. Consumer non-durables having some strength as well. Energy, minerals, health services bouncing back after a couple days of weakness. Utilities is another weaker sector here, and it looks like VST is the reason for that. This is another earnings name that gapped up, but pushed lower. And if you're not aware, Vistra is actually an AI play as well due to their data center work. So VST and utilities weak along with NVIDIA here. Back to you.
Well, that's sort of the thing. They're the power behind the new data centers out there. So whether it's Constellation or Vistra or GE Vernova, a lot of them have been under a tremendous amount of pressure. HIMS just failed again at 45. So like every single time it tries to hold this breakout, you're seeing the topping tail candles come in. It hasn't got VWAP, but it's held on to 44. So as long as it holds on 44, maybe there isn't going to be a VWAP trade on this. And we got to look for the 44 entry. The other name, and I hate to say it, but Palantir, I wanted to only be long on Palantir. Maybe it'll end up being a 90 breakout here, but yeah, you got to look at this. It was yesterday's afternoon and aftermarket tops at this 90. If we can't break this one out, might just have to look for another mean reversion, but this time in the other direction on Palantir. So if Palantir breaks this trend, just joining the low of the day with that recent dip here into 88.7, we break that trend, I'll actually look for a short. All bets are off if we take out VWAP here on Palantir. So it's HIMS, new one, Palantir, which is one that we're waiting for that 86 to 88 level. Thankfully, we were able to finally get that bottom. But remember, I'd taken the long really early and gotten out for a loss. So we'll see if we can get the trend break on Palantir. That'd be a reversion back toward the low. I'd much prefer it actually go higher. That way we can start playing it off of VWAP and HIMS, which is one of the strongest names out there in the market. Maybe this is the time it holds a bit of over 45. But I've been trying to catch it right back in here in front of VWAP. It might just end up being a breakout trade for HIMS. I love what's setting up in terms of the big gap that you've got above 45 into like 50 and 52, but it's failed that top too many times to want the long at the high of the day, especially at this time. I do not like breaks at the high between 10:30 and 11 o'clock. I think it's a time you want to be patient more than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. I think patience rules the day. I mean, I know we've talked about it here. No. If I was just patient, like a little more patient, but I mean, you never know. This is again what we were talking about yesterday. Like you never know where that bottom's going to be. We tried it at 215. That's the level that we liked here on Amazon. But again, it was going to be a top trade idea for us, and so I wanted to stick with it. And just like we went back over to the number one idea on the sticky note as well with NVIDIA, we just got right back into that, into 126. I was actually waiting for more to come through here on that dip, but apparently we do not get that. So now we'll have to wait to see what's going on with Amazon here into the close. With NVIDIA. Now it's still $1. We're $1 in the money. We're happy with it. We're battling back here today big time. All right, Amazon. All right, NVIDIA. Let's go, man. There it goes. We're sitting in $4 worth of a win. So far, so good here on the market. So we got $2.50, on Amazon. We've got $1 on NVIDIA, and we've got 25 cents, a big 25 cents on Mr. Riley's neighborhood. So we'll wait to see if that comes up. I mean, I'm waiting here at VWAP for this. We only have 10% left of this trade, so it's not like it's going to be a huge one. We were able to get out pretty much all of them right here. We only had 50% left by the time it went to the upside. Each one of these is, again, another 10% out. So far, so good. Can obviously not be read here on Riley, and nor will we be. This is still going to be, believe it or not, out of all the trading that we've all done today, this is still going to be the number one stock P&L-wise for us here today is Riley. So, wow, on that one. And Tesla right here as well as we go, man. Of course I'm trading Riley. Dude, I trade small caps. Yeah, you know that, my guy. We've had some of the biggest small cap winners here, actually, to be honest with you. I know Shreve trades in the midday, but Shreve's right, we have left it alone on this show for some reason, but we're back in it, so we'll still trade them. I mean, you guys know Big Bear has been a good one for me in the past. Riley's been a good one. We've destroyed.
The quantum names have been great.
Yeah, Rigetti, yeah, lots of names have been great. Good point, Neil. So yeah, as we go, man, lots of great names traded for small cap, right? Here. So
speaking of small caps,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
NIO's been on one today. NIO, and I know everyone's like, oh, you guys are ignoring NIO. You're ignoring XPeng. Yeah, super strong. I actually didn't see this. I wasn't here yesterday, so when NIO did this exact same thing, 7 or 8% yesterday's trade, I did miss it. But it looks like the buyers in accumulation at force finally doing something on NIO, and maybe this is the moment where you actually get more than just 1 or 2 days of lackadaisical buying above or into $5 and then just a big reversion. It feels a little bit stronger here. You like the volume that it's putting in. Biggest volume candle yesterday since December, I believe, although I'm missing one of those, but since December, and you're following that up with a lot of strength in here. As with all Chinese ADRs, all bets are off for me once you get past like 1 o'clock in terms of volume, but if you do get a VWAP dip or a reversion back downside, I'd look for a bounce off VWAP here on NIO. So I'm not caring about $5. I care more about that $4.90. Palantir still very much doing the same thing where, see the sellers at that 90 level? It's not really able to punch through, but the good thing about this is the longer it holds making these higher lows in the 90s, then you get a tighter trail in terms of where this trend line is from the actual open bottom here on Palantir. So now you're starting to eke above that 90 level. We close above VWAP. I want to look long into the trend line, and it's that or HIMS, and HIMS is suddenly looking way stronger than it was before. HIMS now starting to hold bids above 450. Nice little higher low put on HIMS. I don't think we're going to get VWAP if this one wants to squeeze here today. So we close above VWAP on Palantir. I'm long into that trend line I just showed you, and with HIMS, going to give up on VWAP for now and maybe look for an entry a little bit higher with a tighter stop. It's putting in higher lows here on HIMS. I don't want it to get too far away from us. NVIDIA, it's not moving as much, and that's kind of putting, with NVIDIA not moving, AMD's not moving either. So the idea that AMD on this bounce was going to get to VWAP feels like that's pretty much kaput. 103.5, I might have to look for the short there. Not a single trade on AMD for me, despite liking it short, because it just fell like an absolute rock. The only level to look at now would be yesterday's low, and then that works to Tuesday's bottoms as well. So I guess that's all you're going to get, and I have to short it well away from VWAP. And that's just part of the game. You can want to short something at VWAP because the market's coming up, but if it doesn't get there, you don't get a trade. So I'll just have to short it off of where the sellers are showing me it can get to instead.
I think the best short there would be for Tesla right now, 294. We can definitely have a look at that. I don't want to go short anything, but that would be a play I think is somewhat reasonable here. TSLA potentially for a downside push right now. So we can have a quick little look and see if anything does happen here for Tesla. But that would be something if you're interested in it. That could be a trade that I don't mind doing. There, Tesla. So we'll set some orders up around that 294. Just looking to see what we're doing. NVIDIA's having a problem. We talked about Riley a little bit, but it's not really doing too much there. Palantir, let's see what's going on with Affirm now. Affirm, load. Okay, so I'm getting a signal that it's at VWAP, but again, without too much volume there, up actually 0.5%, which is nice. Sky's not falling. I mean, we're only down now 0.39. That was a very, very epic move to the downside. Yeah, I see you in the chat. Like, I don't know, Google getting hit there again. It's just going to continue. I'm not really sure why Google's getting hit the worst out of them all, but it is. So Google down 1.49% right now. And yeah, not looking very healthy. That is for sure. So Amazon battling back. Google doesn't really battle back that much. It did have a nice move. It did go up about $2, but faded right back in. I mean, I guess Amazon only went up $3. So it's not like this is super strong. And yeah, Google just, I don't really have a reason of why that is potentially down so much, but it is. So we're just going to have to wait for it. I mean, broke through the 50-period moving average and, the 200-period moving average. 50 was way up there at 190, and now it's a downside play. So you got to have to wait probably for 160, 165 right now for Google. So forever long is your boy, but it does not look like it wants to be a great idea. That is for sure. So,
Buying opportunities.
yeah, exactly. Just all about buying opportunities, but you got to have cash to do that. So hopefully some of you are able to raise some of that as we go. So definitely, man, been. Thanks for watching here today. I think it's been obviously not as profitable of a day as we would have liked to see, but we'll still be holding out red. Put in the chat. I want to actually see what you guys are up to. If you're red here, I'm going to say. Let me just say. I'm going to say. What comes up if I just type in red? Okay, I'm gonna put this, so put in a red or green little stop there and we'll see. So I'm gonna be red today, but again, very manageable, but we are gonna be red. And in being honest, I mean, this is how we got to where we are. We're 500,000 subscribers. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations, Darwin and everybody as well. So let's start putting them in the chat and let's see what people are, red or green today.
Well, apparently, just before we go over to Adara, I just got into the break of the trend here on Palantir as we just lost VWAP and just lost that 90 level. So going to give it to the prior bar high. That's going to be 90.25. And let's go to Adara for a little money talks.
This is the US dollar, and it is, as you can see here, kind of trying to break out of its downtrend on the daily chart. We've had lower highs and lower lows. Yesterday, we got a bit of a bounce. Today, though, actually trying to take out this previous high. Let's see if we can get above that high of day on Wednesday, February 19th, which was our most recent high there, that 107.30. So currently around 107.17s. Lots of Fed speak today. We're going to have Fed's Bowman come through at 11:45 a.m. Then we're going to be getting Fed's Hammock at 1:15 and Fed's Harker at 3:15. We also are going to have we had some data earlier today to talk about exactly in line with expectations here for the GDP estimate for Q4. So our previous estimate was 2.3%. This estimate also 2.3%. Pending home sales here much lower than expected, -4.6 versus -0.9 expected. Then we're also tomorrow going to be getting PCE, and it looks like we're getting a little bit higher than expected on or lower than expected, sorry, in some of these metrics. So PCE price index year over year, we're looking for 2.5% versus 2.6% previous. The month-over-month PCE is expected to be in line with the previous print at 0.3%. Then the PCE price index on a core basis is actually expected to drop here, 2.6% versus 2.8% previous. We're expecting a slight uptick, though, in the month-over-month core print. So to recap, we're expecting in line or slightly above slightly above the previous print, sorry, for the month-over-month numbers. The year-over-year actually expect to be lower than previous. So year-over-year, we're expecting to see a little bit of deflation, some potential inflation expected month-over-month. But what these expectations aren't really going to mean anything. We have to wait and find out what the actual number is at 8:30 a.m. So you can find that with us live. Back to you.
You can find it live for sure. All economic numbers and as importantly, I shouldn't say more importantly, as importantly, all the earnings live and live price reactions to all of it, like in the record-setting NVIDIA show last night where, they rinsed all the options players again. I feel like this earnings season may be the last one as well. If you've been betting on the over on most of the moves, you've been getting moked this year.
Yeah.
I think you just have to, this feels like the kind of year where the market makers are just absolutely rinsing everybody, and you have to make the adjustment on the earnings. Too many inside moves to be playing for those big, obviously, outside opportunities. But it does give you some good bounce levels to work off of. It gives you some fade levels to work off of when things go a little bit too far. Snowflake might be an example of that one here today. So, there's always an opportunity to trade out there. You just have to adjust to what the market is giving you. We're no longer seeing NVIDIA just double-digit everything to the upside or downside. It's just not going to be that. So the market's heading back to 21, and we just got into Palantir. I just looked up at HIMS is going to head into VWAP as well, as it looks like we're coming back in. So Palantir broke trend to the downside. Looks like it wants to track at least toward 88.5. Just a reminder, I like Palantir longs from 86 to 88. And that's because of this 50-period bounce that we got going on. Pretty much on a dime, it's bounced off the 50 period. So I like that level for Palantir in general. If we trend back in, going to look for the out at the low of yesterday, which is just underneath 88 here on PLTR. Trend in, trend out. And HIMS, which is still strong. Don't jinx it. We got 5 minutes to go. HIMS putting in a little bit of a bull flag off yesterday's high. If the market comes back in for us, this could be the chance to actually get VWAP. All kinds of sellers at 45 here on HIMS. So it was right not to take the long up here. I think waiting for it to get in, maybe give us a better long closer to VWAP or 44 is going to be the way to go. So Pouncer is the only new position. Hims, we're still waiting very, very patiently for that long opportunity there. Good hook shot. People don't use the hook, and
I mean, I just Kareem Abdul-Jabbar this guy, and he dropped it. You know what I mean?
Imagine if
like,
Wemby had if any of those dudes had a hook to go with some of the game. I don't know.
Wemby's hurt now, gone.
I know that was sad to hear. Because hopefully it's more like what happened. Because Ingram had this too with the blood clotting. But you hope it's not the worst, because it can be a career ender. With Chris Bosh, it was obviously a career ender. But
Chris Bosh, yeah. Take my talents to South Beach. Okay, so we reloaded NVIDIA, and we're,
legend.
you know, there it is again. Another one. So another win for you guys there on NVIDIA as it goes. I don't know. I look at the chat there. We could do a, what is this vote anyways? What does it say, bullish or bearish? Okay, bearish looks like wins the day. We asked about green or reds, and I was sort of looking at it, and it looks pretty mixed. So yeah, greens, reds, some greens there, some reds there as well. So a pretty mixed day. I feel like that's about right. So, depending on what you're trading there, thank you so much to everybody for watching the show. It's about to get 10 times better with Joe and Sharif coming through. So get ready for that right there. We did take advantage of a move up there in Riley to get less and less exposed on this. We're out there, came up into the VWAP. We said we were going to wait for VWAP. We got it. So there it goes, man. Man of my word. So we get some out there on that as it pops back up. So yeah, man, so far so good here today. And yeah, we'll be down, but it'll be rough. It's like we'll make that back. Hopefully we'll be green by the time we come back to you guys. And then right there it is. So it was all of it was due to this. If we don't have this trade, then we are significantly down. And we made that same play yesterday and the day before where we got hit early trying to catch some of these moves. We're just gonna have to try to back up just a little bit right now. Rivian, the stock that I cannot advise anybody buying, is down to $12, but it is having a nice move back to the upside again. You want to catch falling knives, go for it. But that $10 mark might be a spot where you might want to get interested in Rivian as that's starting to pop up again. And then really, man, I mean, that Tesla long, that was the trade today down there at 280. So it came back in and ripped up about $13, right up there at 293. So watch out now if that comes in and retests those lows again as well. So just to let you know, I'm still bidding some Amazon down there. I'm going to cancel all those upside takes. We'll reassess all that when it comes through. I'm going to buy some more NVIDIA, and I'm buying more Amazon. Until we break these bottoms, that's what I'm going to be doing. So let's see if blood does come in the streets. You know, I'm going to be sitting there and picking up some Amazon. My bid is at $211.80, so still ways down. If we can get down there near $2, we're going to do that, and then we're using $211.50 as our out. That's going to be the bottom of the day. We'll try to take 30 cents worth of risk on shares that are brave. So we'll say that. We'll wait to see if Amazon comes back in.
And that's what it's all about. We have a couple minutes to go, so just one other update for you. Palantir still holding a trend, but starting to put in a nice little higher low. The market's holding on to 21,000, which has at least some significance to it, because this was the bottoming tail wick that we put on in the NASDAQ. There we go. So 2 days ago, there was your low at that 21. We put in the bottoming tail wick, closing above it. So support in here means take profit on shorts. It's a trend in, trend out. So if we break this now prior bar low, I'm going to jump out of Palantir. If we break down from here, looking for that 88 level, Hims is still looking relatively strong. So it's holding on to 44. It doesn't seem to want to get into VWAP because the market's still dropping. I just want to be patient with it. But the other way that I can get into this is if it does this slow grind down, trending like this, I can just take a reversal of that trend. Whether it's at VWAP, it could be at 44, 43.7. Let it close back above, take the long, and then put the stop right underneath that prior bar low. That's another way that I might get into Hims, as it looks relatively strong here for sure. I see Bearded Warrior trades, and SPY seems to like the 590 support. Yeah, I'm looking at the NASDAQ, but it's essentially the same level. That 21 on the NASDAQ, your corresponding, on the NASDAQ future is going to correspond with that ES bottom as well. So yeah, the market's trying to find support, but remember, it is trend down. I prefer to look longs in things that have an upward trend to it, or at least some form of relative strength. That's why I'm over here on Hims, which it has a chance. It might close this bar above this recent trend, in which case I'd try to jump in, ideally before 44.6, with a stop underneath that prior bar. So Palantir short working. Hims, we're not in it just yet. And AMD, Donald just said. I don't know why you're excited about AMD. It must be. There it goes. It just broke the low again, so that's me canceling another offer. AMD just broke the low once again. This stock cannot get out of its own way. It is 11 o'clock. We'll be back at 2 for sure. But right now, you've got the professor. You've got Joey options. Go get them, boys, and eat those eggs, Sharif.
Too late.
How do you...
Boom. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade During the Midday. That's your boy Joey Options right there. I'm Sharif, and we're going to wait until YouTube... We've got a lot to talk about today. Shout out to the OG Darwin in the chat. Jack CW. How about Callum Miller? Shout out to you, my man. We even have Joseph and Matthew Booth in the chat. Bears versus Dang Bulls. The world's greatest mod joining us as well. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to Kahlua and Fiddleback. I'm starting to notice that certain people make it in earlier than others.
Yeah,
I'm starting to wonder if
Darwin is always
they get, priority from others that
VIP entrance there.
There we go. Easy Media. We got Tony Travels, Indeed Money, Adam Dang Deluce. How about Diggity? We got Ozan China. He's already yelling China. We got Jacques, Freddy 5000, Hytham, Ticker Checker, Chucky, Lo-Fi Soul. How about Indeed Money? Like this over here. Mr. Ducts. Okay. Shout out to Showtime. Shout out to Stevenson, Mad Word 1. We got Mesla, Vern, Bert. We got Cass. We got Harold. Vizbot as well. Raul. Joseph Wahar. Stock Up. Kirk D. Mr. Ian. And Young Talent the Great. Like that one. That was good. Bert Lee. Ryan Lindquist on the blockchain. What's up? What's up? What's up? Abdulaziz Ismatov. Hans Beer. Sirens Industry. Like this. Redo Stocks. We got Alan Blumener. I butchered your name. I'm sorry. Bob S. MMG. Giovanni. We got Osama. And one more here, Joseph. Michael Sparada.
There
it is, baby.
Cooking it up, guys. I mean, hey, I'm going to just point one thing out on NVDA, and we've been talking about it for the past couple of days anyways, before leading up to the earnings report. And that was that put and call wall right at 140. We put it high in around 136, and that's as high as the market was going to allow it to push. There's just too much size there, in my opinion, in order for it to break through. You're going to need a big player to step in. But one thing is to look forward to is that all those contracts expire on Friday. So let's see what happens with that. Is that going to cause it to shoot higher? I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. But notionally, it's quite a bit, and there's over about like 18-point-something million shares right at that, potential shares, I should say, right at that 140 strike price. So I think that has a lot to do with why we couldn't push through. I heard Sean talking about the expected move being a little lackluster, and absolutely, I agree with him. When you price in something around 9% or something along those lines, and then now you're negative on the session, going to the downside after this report, then it is what it is. But I mentioned time and time again, now we're pushing lower and lower in this name. The real question is, how low can we go? And I think this market is going to see a lot more red days to come. That's just my opinion, but we're going to find out and see 140, that put and call wall. Sharif, I know you're going to want to cover something before we hop into the lesson.
Absolutely.
What do you got going on?
Here's what we got, Joseph. This is obviously the small cap gapper side charts over here, but there's one notable one here, Joseph, that's really breaking out right now. And this is the big boy on the market. It's up 193%. Let's talk about this one. ESGL. Into $3 high day. This thing is a dang rocket ship right now, so it behooves us to find out a little bit more about it. What's the deal with this one? Okay, 20 million share float, says Trade Ideas, and a bupkis short float, 0.04. I haven't seen one so small. So ESGL seems to have no shorts involved in it at all. Now, again, as we always say, this could be 2 weeks old, the data that is for the shorts. So really interesting here, ESGL, keeping that in focus. We also got HIMS, as Joseph was talking about there. We got LTBR, into the highs. This one's only about 19.25%, seeming to have trouble with 12. That's on the top right corner of your screen. And then the one that I like, second best after ESGL, ARIS. Shout out to all the Aries out there. I know that's you, BPI. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, homie. Get it, Adara. 3160. That's 3158, excuse me. That is the high a day on ARIS. Let's do a little bit of a deep dive. I know Joseph's got a lesson, but I just want to let everyone know ARIS has a short float of 7.5 million and about 27.5 million share float, so not a bad look there. Root in focus as well. At Riley, we saw the Katina man kill this one in the morning. And last but not least, LMND, Lemonade, is making what we call big boy moves here into the highs. It's up 15.5%. It just printed the high, 36.40. This one's been insanely respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. Those are going to be the main ones. ESGL, ARIS, and LMND. We're going to keep the others on the side chart, Joseph.
Yes,
but
sir.
We'll find out exactly if they can hang on.
See if they can hang or not. Mad World, yeah, same, my friend. I added my average is now bumped up. It's unfortunate of the way it went here, so we're gonna have to assess. We have some stops in place, but let's see what Adair's up to.
Keep an eye here in Taboola, TBLA. This is actually a day 2 earnings move, but also we just got a little bit of volume here. There's an article that was published yesterday by Business Insider saying that the company is targeting a $55 billion opportunity through its new ad platform. Now, this, again, came out yesterday, but it was just being circulated right now again on social media. So as it recirculates, some traders entering the name with that volume push to the upside for TBLA. That is Taboola, guys. Again, day 2 earnings play and new recycled catalyst online. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Adara, for that one, guys. Yeah, let's dive right into this because I think there's a lot to talk about with the markets and stuff today. So I want to talk about just constructing a trading playbook and just being all around consistent, right? I don't know if any of you guys seen that one interview with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and the reporter's just like, why are you so good at what you do? And he's just like, I'm just consistent with my life. So a bunch of aura points right there for Shea there, guys. All right, let's get right into this. Pre-market preparation, trade criteria, and data collection, all right? So let's see. Creating a day trading playbook is like crafting your own Numerous of successful traders credit their success to hard work and a defined trading playbook, all right? Pre-market preparation, detailed trading criteria, and consistent data collection are key criteria to the success of numerous amounts of traders. So, pre-market preparation, I think this is extremely important. Starting your trading day the right way is going to be a key factor in your session success. Proper and consistent preparation is very much important. If you think that you're going to be able to roll out of bed at 9:25, turn on the computer, and then go against traders like Sean, Sharif, and all those guys, and then I wish you the best of luck, but that's just not the reality of this game, all right? Checking daily news, sentiment on social media, as well as what is in the equities market seems to be catching the public's eye. That's why we run scanners. That's why we go through the news. That's why in the morning show they say, hey, this is what is possibly trending. This is what's popular on social media, and et cetera, all right? Keep an eye on upgrades, downgrades, and headlines. We have exactly that here in the morning, and that's what you want to see. That could affect an individual stock and even the broader market. Check daily macroeconomic data points, earnings, and earnings during and out of season, okay? So every morning we get those CPI, we get the pending home sales, GDP, et cetera, here in the morning, and you want to keep an eye out on those because you may have the question, well, why is the market moving? Did you do your due diligence? Did you check to see if there's any catalyst in the underlying? Is there a catalyst in the broader market? Is there any macro news? And it's your job to do so, all right? And this is going to help just add to the success, whether it be 1%, right? The goal is to get 1% better. So if you can do something to put you in the direction of being profitable, then you may as well take those steps, all right? Here we go. This week's major economic reports here. So this is just an example here, guys. This was taken from last year, about a month or so ago now. And this is just what you want to put. You can get a whole list of it right here of what's happening that week. And then it's your job to document that and put it into your own journals and say, hey, okay, well, on this day, I traded really well. What was leading to me? What led me to trading really well that session? Okay, well, we had initial jobless claims that came in strong. we had X amount of catalysts here on this stock, and then the broader market was trading higher. So we have those influential catalysts in the markets, all right? So trade criteria. Trade criteria and stock selection are key factors in consistent trading success. Being in the right stock with your trading parameters will help increase day-to-day success. Now, as you get more familiar and you gain more experience, you're gonna realize when your setup is there, right? You're gonna run your scans in the morning, like, hey, this isn't necessarily setting up how I want. You have a group of stocks, you narrow that down to about 3 or 4, even 2 or 3 stocks, and you hyper-focus on those, okay? Stock screeners are a great trading tool that allow you to filter through the market and find in-play stocks that fit your playbook's trading metrics, all right? Analyze current technical level, mark out key support and resistance levels for your in-play stocks. Establish potential trade scenarios, breakups, breakdowns, reversals, and continuations. Okay, so now this is basic. Sharif has his small cap gapper filter. It's very simple. It's something, anything over $1, I believe.
Basically.
And then a lot of volume here. He wants to see that volume, and that's mine. My price filter is anything over $13 and anything below $1,000, and I want to see anything with over 900,000 shares traded up to an infinite amount. The more shares, the better, all right, for that criteria. And then we have all the exchange. It's that simple. This is exactly what I want. When I run this scan, it gives me that list every morning. It's as simple as hitting the scan button, and then it's going to give you those stocks. It's going to filter out all of the 500 from the S&P and whatever it may be, and then narrow it down to a couple of them, all right? So here we go. Collecting data. Numerous points of data can be collected for your specific day trading system and investing criteria. Select and collect key points that best fit your system. Categorize your entries, 9:30 to 11 a.m., market open executions, 11 to 2, midday analysis, 2 to 4, power hour, and closing session. Ranking weight of catalysts, upgrades and downgrades, macro data, news headlines, mergers and acquisitions, and earnings. I think earnings is one of the highest levels of catalysts, all right? Risk per trade, collect data on your risk units per trade. This can help you scale trades and setups you're more efficient in, and reduce risk in trade setups you're less accurate on. Okay, it may sound simple, but it's slightly more complicated. But the more you have the ability to simplify things, I think the better off you are. You can make trading as complicated as you would like, but you can also simplify it as well too. Okay, guys. So here we go. Journal as well as collect screenshots after each trade. Obi does this. I do this. A lot of people in the on the floor do that. Document your psychology before, after, and during trades. Analyze how you managed each position. Document accuracy with short and long positions as well too. So that's something that you want. Now this is just the simple criteria. This is exactly what we're looking at here when we create the Playmaker poll. This is just the criteria. It's simple. It's not overly complicated. We want to know what time we're getting in, how many shares, whether we're going long or short, time of day, the time we exited, and just the simplistic stuff. So the trade number, the stock, the pre-market volume, the strategy, the time in, what time of session it was, time out, the result from a risk to reward standpoint, the shares, catalyst, level of catalyst, and then of course the date. So tricks of the trade. Define your goals, develop a repeatable system. I think that's something that's extremely important. Make sure you can construct something that is repeatable, something that you can do on a day-to-day basis. That doesn't mean it's going to work all the time, all right? Successful trading playbooks require structure, discipline, and data-driven decision-making. Consistently analyze what you're good at and dissect the key metrics that provide the success, okay? Always manage risk accordingly and do not take outsized losses, all right, folks? And that is that one for the trading playbook. If you guys want this, if you guys just want this slide here, feel free to DM me on Twitter or X, sorry guys, and I'll send this over to you. Oscarito was asking me for this. I sent it to him. So if you guys just want something to track basic criteria, you know what to do. DM your guy there on X. Let's see what Adair's up to.
Keep an eye on Amazon here. I'm seeing some comments coming through. Andy Jassy, CEO of AMZN, said there's not enough chips and power to meet AI demand. So this actually echoes comments he made yesterday as well when the company unveiled their new generative AI efforts, including its new Alexa. Basically, Andy Jassy at the time said that we have a lot of demand, but we're really unable to meet it at this time. He's actually saying that there's not enough chips and power to be able to meet this demand in the first place. So more interesting AI comments from Andy Jassy, CEO of AMZN. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adira. Look, guys, the Katina Man's basically involved in a monster right now. He's in Amazon, and he's in NVIDIA at 126. So we're going to hit the, you know what we're going to hit, man. Sorry.
That's gonna be us tomorrow, man.
Why, Joseph? What's gonna happen?
I don't
tomorrow?
know, man. You know what's funny? When you and Obi started the show yesterday, you're like, yo, what are we doing tomorrow?
Yeah.
And Obi's like, I don't know, what are we doing tomorrow?
You saw that, huh?
I was actually like, I don't know, what are we doing tomorrow? And I'm like, no, I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared for this whatsoever. I just came off a hiatus in Jamaica.
Yeah. You need a bit of a break. You need a little bit of a
You know
detox
what I mean?
here, my
Yeah,
boy.
so it's gonna be a tough one though, my guy. What do you got cooking up?
Okay, we did real well here on VLC and we punched in 114, just took it out there at 131. VLCN Ram. It's on one right now. Is that her? Yeah, it is her. 40% and going. It is a dollar name right now, but it is on one. It's got a good aggressive move up. Shout out to Bovin, man. Bovin, you're the one that called this out, my man. I didn't have eyes on this one. Shout out to you. It's topping right here. Get it, Adara. Thank you, Adira. I do appreciate you there. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. Bhavin Dang Patel, sir, you're responsible for this trade here. Let me know what you're looking at there, Bhavin, because I'm looking at punching back in because the momentum's still going. A new high of day of $1.36, and something tells me that $1.37 is coming in soon. There it is. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one, guys. VLC.
Whoa. You're in a face slapper there. I don't
know about that, bro. You know how I am, man. We don't take big positions on the show, but we look to execute for the people here to give them the right ideas. That's just kind of the deal.
Yeah.
Bring them up here.
So
Thank you,
we can see it.
Brentles.
You got a shirt too, my guy?
Oh, the Katina. He got it. Katina, man, show the people. The People's Trader gonna show them the People's T-shirt, baby.
What did you get, man?
We're going to find out right now.
Reloaded.
So what we're talking about right now, guys, we all got different T-shirts for Obi's grad party. We talked about this yesterday. Bring in the Katina Man. There he is.
See.
What do we got? No, that's the wrong way, Katina Man. Yeah.
It's the wrong way.
Ooh. We like.
All right.
Me like. I like that.
That's tough there.
All right, where's ours?
All right, hey,
what do we
let's
got?
go.
This one's
All right,
mine.
let's see. Thanks, my guy Branks.
Hey.
My guy Branks is coming back from a little trip, too. Let's go. Let's see what we got going on, guys.
Of course you got that. Of course you got that.
All right, let's see.
I like it. I like it.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
What do you
Let's
got
go.
going on there?
FTX.
All right. Risk management
Department,
Risk management.
a.k.a.
To the
doesn't
moon.
exist.
To the
They
moon.
don't exist. To the moon.
To the moon.
yes.
Let's go.
Yo, I ordered
Let's
a
go.
large,
Get in here,
bro.
Katina, man. Put it on there, my guy.
I ordered a large, Joseph.
What do you got there?
I don't know, man. This thing's not gonna fit as a large. I was gonna get a medium too. Breckles is like, don't do it,
You know,
dude.
I had
Don't
to
do
get
it.
the small.
We're gonna get it right there, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah,
To the
that's what it is. It's an Alibaba large. It says Ram.
It's a Timu. It's a Timu large.
Check out
Let's go.
I
Who
love
will
this.
win?
Katina Man, who do you want to win?
This guy, who do you want to win, man?
No, Katina Man, don't
my
point at the red
days.
guy.
Let's
Come on
go.
now. There we go, baby. All right,
Now
so
we're
this
going polar opposite. We're going to the Earth.
I like
core
that a
with
lot,
this thing.
dude.
Yeah, man.
I guarantee
To
you
the
they
moon.
didn't pay nothing for. Well, you can't trademark the Bitcoin thing, right? Like that's
I don't know.
just,
Probably
that's
not.
public domain.
Yeah,
right?
maybe. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
public domain. There you go.
All right.
So here we go.
It smells
guys.
like it just came out of the factory.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I don't
we
know
like
if
that.
it's
fresh,
corrosive.
man. So yeah.
It's corrosive right now,
It's a nice new gym shirt there. So yeah, that's what we got going on there, guys.
Yes, sir. So very happy for Obi. Clearly,
Yeah.
it's very, very like delayed.
Very delayed.
It's been almost like a year since
So
he's
we got
graduated, right?
so we got a lot to make up for, I
Yeah.
guess. There.
We're very pumped.
Is
Obviously,
that Wayner in the back there too? No.
I don't
it's
know.
Branks.
It's Brankles. Yeah,
Still
yeah.
Branks. Let's see if we can get in a video to get rolling the ball here, guys. Yeah, it's rolling. Katina Man's in off those
He's in a
bottoms.
two banger right now.
Yeah, he's in a hot dog cannon. He's in another face slapper there. I mean, I got 3 swings going on right now, guys. I told you guys Walmart, NVDA, and Amazon. And I was gonna get out of Amazon at 220, but I didn't catch any fills. It was too quick. It just tapped into it and then sold off 5 points. And then that's why your boy had to go for a quick walk because I'm like, yo, yeah. I'm like, yeah, we got to chill here. But I mean, hey guys. It is what it is, right? We're not going to get too worried about it. I do want to talk about the overall market and just where we stand at from a daily perspective, because I think it's really, really important. And the kind of the choppy range that we've been sitting in here. We'll go to Adair in 1 second. I just want to finish this point here. But here we go. We have some we have some key support levels that we need to keep an eye on. Sorry, and then here we have some double top price type price action. If we breach 589, I think it might get a little bit uglier than what it seems to be. And you also have to take into consideration that we're only down about 4% on from those all-time highs. So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit more about that, but let's see what Adair's up to.
On Amazon, Andy Jassy, CEO, keeps talking here about AI, and he is making some interesting comments. He's saying that he has spoken to President Trump. He also said here that chip export curbs could cede businesses to other nations. So basically, if America is forced to keep curbing these chip exports, other countries could step in. So kind of a cautious look here with regards to these chip exports. We know Microsoft earlier today basically issued a letter of communication here with the administration saying that they really need to be careful what they do here with these chip exports. How can it impact other countries? So AMZN here on watch with more AI-related comments from Andy Jassy for the second day in a row, guys. Back to you.
The people want to see your T-shirt.
They want to see a T-shirt, man.
Yeah, where's your? Well, we all showed ours.
Yeah, come bring it up.
She's bringing it. All right, she's coming in.
Everybody's got one now.
Continue your thought while she gets her started.
Yeah, okay, well, sorry, we speak one at a time here. We don't want to get too carried away. We got to listen to the production.
Yeah, man, she's
boss down
she's
there,
very assertive these days. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I've noticed it.
I really like
that's
that.
okay, Lily.
Oh,
Here we go.
what a shock. What a shock. Why isn't there a GLP-1, like a needle or something on there? Like, what the hell?
Somebody today asked, like, what picture do you want? And Frankel's and Obi had already pulled up Lily. And
Woman, you need a dollar sign or something to vote to show that that's a ticker. People are going to...
Bro, like it. Thank you,
Brenkles, you need to be more creative, brother. Like, how are we supposed to tell that that's Eli Lilly? I mean, unless you're trading, you don't know that that's...
Oh, we like it, bro. We like it.
I a building near my house last week, so this is a sign.
So there's the sign.
I love it. I love it. Get it, Adara. We're happy.
It's a sign, guys. Yeah, she got the only colored one.
People want to know why you got red, Adara.
Yeah, exactly.
People are really upset in the chat.
It's the color of Lily.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
Well,
So, all right.
It's a bad omen.
It is what it is. Okay, but yeah, here we go, guys. Just going back to the overall market and the broader, you can see that we've been trading in this range. Not looking overly pretty. It's not good, but if we break through these key support levels, I think there's going to be some more downside, and then I think the next target's going to be around this 574 level, which I do think is going to come into play because we have been on a 2-year plus bull market, and then when you see this indecisiveness and the consolidation that's essentially been going on since November, and a lot of like, hey, ups and downs, and some ugly days. So I don't want to call that say that there's any specific headwinds, but you know that those tariffs are coming into play very soon. So we got to keep an eye on these levels, Shreve. And then if we break them, I think we're going to go and touch some more ones to the downside, my guy.
Absolutely, my man. I think that is sadly the case, but you're just going to have to deal with that and be strategic about where you add, and don't be so emotional about things. I know it's money. I get that. It's money. But if you get emotional about it, you make emotional decisions, emotionally charged decisions. Those are not the best decisions, nor is it the best state of mind to make these decisions. Case in point, I was fed up. No, I want to talk about this. I was fed up with my pan-dub trade, right? I got out of pan-dub at 203-ish, and then I got back in at 191. Why? Because I made an emotional decision to get out of pan-dub, despite the fact that the best days, in my humble opinion, are still ahead of it. So I just want to make that point. When I make decisions and they're emotional, they're almost always wrong. When I make them in a clear mindset and when I'm not emotionally charged, I don't know, they're not almost always right, but the hit rate is way higher. So I definitely want to send a message out to everybody there. Go ahead, Katina, man.
Emotional damage.
Emotional damage. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, yeah. I was definitely feeling it.
Katina's killing me, bro.
Man, I was giddy this morning, adding into NVIDIA around the 133 area in the when I was at home this morning. Sorry. And then we had that Amazon swing, and then it's like, okay, in a matter of seconds, it's all gone. So it's like, So you got to go for a walk, drink a muscle milk, grab
I haven't had one of those in a minute.
Yeah, grab a Farm Boy buffalo chicken wrap, and just come back and get some fresh air. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah, I'm saying. Yeah, you know.
Sorry, guys.
Hungry.
I like to have fun, man. You know what? Whatever, man.
Yeah, 1 pound fish. I love that video. 1 pound fish.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
You never seen that one?
No, I haven't.
It's hilarious. The guy's song. Who said that? Jack CW. Yeah, I love that song. 1 pound fish. Everybody.
Ram.
1 pound fish.
Have you?
All right, no worries.
Whatever.
That's it, man.
Yeah, we're having a good time.
Yeah.
Ram. Have you seen that viral TikTok video? The Jamaican guy that said, "Rich, millionaire." Did you see that? You know about that one? Yay, Ram. Yeah, that was hilarious. All right, do you get a cookie? I don't know. There's cookies in the back, girl.
No.
You have a lot in the fridge, don't you? There, I visit some of them, Ram. Sometimes. Sorry.
No, time out. Whose Kit Kat bar is in the fridge?
That's hers.
Yeah, it's not safe. I would
it's
not
not
leave
safe. It's not safe.
I would
she
not
leaves
leave
her
that
stuff
in there. Yeah, do not leave that in there much longer because it is not safe, okay?
Oh, man. What's going on over there,
Yeah, what's
Katina,
going
man?
on over
Oh,
there,
I
man?
thought that you were the one that hit that. Okay. All right, guys. I just got stopped out of a position over here on ESLG. This one, it didn't hold up. It didn't hold up at the right level. We're negatory on this one now. I was trying to get it off the 10 exponential. It wasn't having me. So we end up getting stopped out of that one. And the one that we were in initially, VLCN, holy cow. I was setting up to go long at that $1.16, which is where VWAP is at. Look at this. V-shaped retracement. So I'm a little concerned right now with the strength or lack thereof of these small cap gappers. So we're going to keep an eye out on that one. Let's bring in the side charts, though. Let's wax a little poetic, to use an Adara term, about some of these small cap gappers. So Root, very expensive. It's $135 stock, but it's on one right now. It's up 37.5%, a little bit more. So you're going to have to obviously ante up, as well as practice sound risk management strategies with Root, R-O-O-T. It's LMND that's on a dang rocket ship right now. Guys, this thing hasn't even touched the 10 exponential moving average since 10:30, so it's better part of an hour now, Joseph, where this one has not touched the 10. It's very directional, very strong, but it is getting a little extended. I might be picking this bad boy up off 37 on a pullback. It's up 20 and a third percent. HIMS as well. I want to shout out Neil, because Neil had a banger in HIMS. He had over a $1 club there for the flat top breakout. So shout out to Neil Dang Roberts for taking that bad boy. But it's coming down into 45. It's an area that I like it because of the 10 exponential. It's shown its respect for the 10 on the day already. So you're going to have to ante up a little bit more here if you're a small cap gapper trader, because it's $45 plus, but it's setting up well. So let's go ahead and load up HIMS. Oh, here, it's already here on the chart. So where am I wrong here? If we give up the ghost at the 10 exponential, by extension of that 45. I perceive us to have another price action support right at this area here at 44.75. So let's go ahead, let's weasel our way in. We're gonna get in a small amount here, and then I'll be looking at DCA. I'm planning my dollar cost averages here. So I like that 2/3 to 3/4 of a dollar level. So I'm gonna sit at both levels, okay? So I'm gonna sit at 76s, and then I'll also sit at 65s for a dip trade there. Oh, wow, it just popped up, okay? And then drop right back down. So we'll have an opportunity to DCA, but I'm gonna put orders as well. Let's sit on the north side of 45. If it wants to pop off and move up, I'll pick it up there. I think I'm wrong through the $0.50. 44.5, I'm out. That's the 20 exponential. It's also a breach of this area price action support right here, this area crest. So if it breaks through there, I'm out. I'll be taking it out through there. So let's go ahead and throw the stop. So we're gonna have that. So that'll mean that we have that many shares. So we're gonna go ahead and wait over here. So we're gonna just like that, and then we're gonna change it there. So it's already zigging and zagging right now. We'll see if HIMS wants to hold up generally in this area. Yeah, what else am I looking at? LTBR. Fantastic look here for LTBR. It's not the biggest percentage winner on the day. It's 16 and change. But here's the deal. It just came in to that VWAP area, and then it got bought up like a storm, 11:30, and now it's popping off right back into 11:50. It spent like literally no time at the VWAP area. So I hope you had resting orders, as I always advocate for, at the level that you want to get in and take profits at. So that's a look right now. We're involved in HIMS. I'm looking at DCAing into this monster if it'll allow me. And then I'm going to take everything out if it breaks through that 40 penny area. I'm looking for it to hold at price action support, Joseph. Otherwise, want no smoke. What do you got on your side, my man?
Yeah, for sure. We got a couple people in the chat asking me to take a look at APLD for them, and we'll do exactly that because that's what we like to do. All right, guys. So you know what I'm going to point out here, right? And hopefully I don't have to say it, but I'm going to point it out anyways. Just be wary of these types of signals, and sure enough, as you break it to the downside, you're going to get that continuation. We have key levels of support right here, so you want to keep an eye out on those as well, too, guys. So APLD, from a technical standpoint, it's just moving sideways like the rest of the market. I think it's time to go maybe a little bit neutral and just relax. And there's some things that I'm going to talk about next week, and that's Gamma, because I really started to take a dive into it to see, like, hey, okay, what's going on with it? Because there's more underneath the hood there with Gamma. So I'm looking forward to that. So check in Tuesday morning when we do some options talk, and then in the afternoon as well, too. We're going to do a kind of a thorough lesson on Gamma and just get really into that. So here we go, moving sideways. I don't love it from a technical standpoint. Let's zoom out a little bit here. And this isn't something I would necessarily want to be involved in for the long term, all right? So just ask yourself, are you willing to withstand this? Do they offer a dividend, etc.? And is it going to break out? You need to wait for that specific catalyst in order for this thing to continue to move higher. That volume is starting to pick up a little bit here as well, too. But as of right now, not something I'm going to be looking to buy. I like Sharif. I like how you mentioned earlier, is like, just be careful of allocating right now, just because of the overall market sentiment, right? It's good to buy when there's blood in the streets, and I think that's what a lot of individuals do. You get a really good price, but if there's potentially more downside, you got to be really patient and wait for those turnaround signals. But as for this one, NVDA, it's unfortunate that we traded as high as 136 in the pre-market or just below it. But time and time again, and I'm probably going to talk a lot about it throughout the day, is just that put wall. And I showed you guys before via a different screenshot. And you can see that when you have such large amounts of open interest on the put and on the call side, that can cause some options pinning. And I think that's been the case here in NVIDIA. That's why we have had the inability to breach higher. With this such a phenomenal report as well, too, we know that growth is slightly slowing, but the numbers are still fantastic. If you look at everything from a year-over-year basis, everything's like 90% up, 80%, 75%. It's like, I'm like, yo, how much more can they like continue to win on this? As I was reading the report last night, and it's like, okay, why aren't we trading north of 140? Why isn't this thing continuing to appreciate? And I think a lot of it has to do with that open interest on the options chain, on the call and the put side there, Sharif.
Yes, sir. Okay, we're involved in HIMS here at 56. It's showing me 04s. So give or take, we're about 50 pennies in the money. But look, I had to de-risk. So when it came down, I got out of a portion. So full disclosure, we're negatory on it right now, but we'll look to do a little bit better. I'm also keeping my eye on LTBR. It's coming into the volume weighted average price, the area that I've been waiting. But this is a sustained down move here on LTBR. So I am concerned that, just because it's coming into VWAP, it may not mean a whole lot, right? Because that area is a little concerning to me at the moment. 1130 or so on LTBR. Now, look, the deal is the volume's a little, I don't know about this. It's less than 2.5 million shares, 2.44. Yeah, the spread is kind of wide on it, 12 pennies on an $11 name. I don't know how I feel about that. 11.36 on the bid, 11.48 on the ask. It's not my favorite, not going to lie. So I'm going to steer clear of that one for the moment. But I see Riley is breaking through the volume weighted average price. What's going on over there, Katina Man? The Katina Man is long Riley at 640. Great entry, bro. $7 just broke on Riley, and it took the volume weighted average price. It's up big, 23.4% on the day. So we're going to keep an eye out for Riley. HIMS coming right back down into 75, so couldn't clear the $45 area. And I'm going to take this opportunity to add some here. Exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to wait at 60s. If it will allow me in at 60, fantastic. If it won't, it won't. That's a look there. So LTBR in focus, as well as Lemonade, man. Lemonade is a dang rocket ship right now, but it is putting in the first red candle since this candle over here at 10:30. I mean, there was this candle of indecision at 10:45, but it closes a doji candle. So I don't want to, I'm not marking that as a red candle. It was a candle of indecision. So HIMS in focus is the one I'm in right now. Basically, we're 50 pennies on the money, and now we're about 14 pennies in the money. Quick as that, it comes right back down. I mentioned Root. I mentioned ARIS. They're not to my liking at the moment, so I'm going to steer clear of them and have a look at the top screen over here, see if there's any new small cap gappers making their way onto the scene. There was this one, BCG, but it's given up the ghost. It's breaking down below VWAP. Peppa Pig is back today, PEPG. It's also at the volume weighted average price. Let's have a look at Peppa Pig. And it's not called Peppa Pig, guys. I was just, you know, I don't know.
Why not, man?
It's not Katina, man, but it'd be nice if it was. 180 over here. It's trading at VWAP, my man. PEPG, it's up 20.25%. It's not a bad look, certainly, but yeah, the volume on it is quite bupkis. It's $1.84. It's done 1 million shares. I mean, it's just not cutting it for me. So I'll steer clear of that one. But if it sets up in a bit of a better way, I will get back in. ESLG is the one that we went negatory on. Show yourself, ESLG. Where are you? Okay, I might have gotten rid of it, which is fine. Is it this one over here? No, that's Riley. Hims. Is it this one? No. All right, allow me a second. Yeah, there it is. ESLG just found support at $2. This is an area where it previously had support. So here's what I'm going to do. No, I'm not breaking my rules here. I'm not going to take this long sell to the volume weighted average price. I just won't do it. Every time I break my rules, I end up paying for it, so I won't do it. But it looks good over here at $2. I mean, if I wasn't trying to stick to my rules so stringently, I'd be getting long. All right, HIMS back above 45 right now. Sadly, it didn't fill me at 60s where I was trying to get more in, so that resting order went unfilled. It's having trouble with 45 here, boys and girls, because it's coming into that level and rejecting. A little above on the ask, a little below on the bid. Let's see if it can catch a bit of a move up here. I'm waiting at 25s. 45, 25, that would be about a 75 penny banger. If we can get the fill, underline that, if we can get the fill. We don't got it right now. What's going on over there, Katina, man? It popped up again, didn't it? Oh, I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, well, the Katina Man's in Riley today, guys, and it's a small cap kind of day today on the floor of Trader TV Live. We got ESGL going, we got Riley going, we got Hims going. It's not technically a small cap gapper. Well, you know, it's an honorary small cap gapper. We'll call it that. Continuing to watch ESGL Joseph as it defends that $2 area. Shout out to Rohit defending $2. That's what I see, my man. I see that as well. It's just the problem, Rohit, is every time I take these bad boys long, sell to VWAP or below the pre-market high, I end up paying through the nose for it. And I don't want to pay through the nose for anything today. So we're going to pack our patience. Joseph Wilson.
Yes, sir. Okay, yeah, guys, we're in some we're in this NVDA trade here. We're going to hope it can start cooking.
Hey.
We sold off quite drastically, down 3%. I think that this was like, if I show you guys my notes, it was the one stock I was looking at this morning. And it's unfortunate that it didn't really play out how I wanted to, but that's okay. There'll always be another opportunity. So this is going to be the third quarter in a row that it has not exceeded its expected move. So you just got to keep that in mind. I'm not saying that's going to be the case every time. Eventually it will, but just not today or yesterday. Sorry, guys. So this is what we got cooking up on NVDA. We got Mara short going on as well, too, guys, because I believe that this name is going to just track Bitcoin. And I'm hearing in the chat that Bitcoin's going to the south side. We are still positive, up about 10.5%, a little bit more than that, 10.75. But I think we're going to continue to move lower. You can look at this thing from a daily perspective and just be like, hey, yeah, this mining space is almost uninvestable. This is tough stuff here to sit through all of this. I know we break out once in a while, but unless you're positioned really well, if you're positioning in this $20, this is a headache to sit in. And for me, it's just I don't want any part of this here because it's just like up and down. One day your account's up, the next day it's down, and so on and so on. So that's just a lot of capital expenditure right there. But what we want to look at here is Walmart. My guy over here, Walmart, you know that I told you guys I have 3 current swings on. That is going to be NVDA, Walmart, and Amazon. And this is working out really well. And this is essentially the exact same playbook here as the Amazon trade. And this one's just working out slightly better. My entry's not as good, but that's okay. I do think that we're going to enter this gap, and I'm going to look for it to go into about 100. 101 is going to be my final target on this out. Sharif and I were talking about it earlier and saying, yeah, this is a long-term play, and I agree with him. But I'm also swinging it here just for the short duration because I think we can get a pop in this name because look at the primary trend. Costco is still absolutely killing it, and there might be a little bit of a sector rotation here. So I'm going to stick to this thesis until otherwise. 101, we're at a dodge on that, and then that trade would have worked out really, really nice for us. So that's what we're going to hold on to, guys. But let's see what Morrow's up to right now. Hopefully we can break down. I like this entry somewhat here. If we break this high of 14, then I'm just going to get out of dodge on this one, and then maybe we'll be able to take the additional leg down. We have a double bottom right here, which is something to keep an eye out on. But if we break lower, then I think you're going to see around that 1250, and you're going to give up the majority of this gain here. So yeah, we're going to hold on to this, and we're going to hold on to this NVIDIA long. But you guys, we got to go over to the big desk with Adara.
Keep an eye here on AXTI. I might have a new small cap contender for you, Sharif. This one just started moving here. Only about 1.5 million shares traded so far in the day. No catalyst on AXTI. It's about $1.60 right now. This ticker up about 21%. 1% short float, so insignificant. $71 million market cap, 40 million share float for AXTI. So, Sharif, this one may be on your radar. This one might have a chance to get it here. Popping up on volume. Wanted to let you guys know about new small cap runner. Also, to let you guys know, if you did not realize, I am running this TTV research account on X, through which we publish some fun infographics. AppLovin has had just a wild time, so this graphic is in honor of AppLovin's wild moves. We had this great push to all-time highs. We actually just made new all-time highs less than 2 weeks ago. Now we've dropped even lower. This thing got 3 short reports in the last week, and it was added to the NASDAQ, but then dropped significantly after failing to be added to the S&P 500. So wild times. Check this out on X at TTV Research. Try to post infographics. We post multiple every day, so just make sure you're checking that out. Back to you.
Thank you for calling out AXTI. It's a little light on volume right now, but it's got a fantastic looking pattern. It's about 1.3 million shares, but Adair already mentioned that. She said it was light on volume. So we're going to keep that on the side chart, and if it's tradable, we will definitely get into that. But Joseph, I'm looking, somebody was asking me, he's like, hey, you were calling out VLCN, talk about it. Well, I was involved in it here up into that $1.30, but as you can see, all hell broke loose to the downside. So now VLCN is below VWAP, it's below the 10, it's below everything. The pre-market high, the whole shebang. Now it's doing, it's fighting for its life here above $1. A little below $1, a little above $1. I'm not trading this because it's below VWAP at $1.15, nor do I like this flat bottom look that is break here that it's manifesting into with lower highs and that dollar area acting as a flat bottom. So this isn't for me at the moment. Gonna steer clear of this one, but definitely interested in LMND and HIMS. Let's show the HIMS trade. So I got out of some trouble here. We took a nice little winner on this one, about 75 pennies, but it's still putting in lower highs. I got out of half the position here. That was incorrect. I got out there because of this area support here, but it was, it pushed me out another 20 pennies. That was 40. I had my stop at 38s or something like that. This one pushed below 20. So it looks like they were stop hunting there, and I got caught up in that hunt. So I guess I'm the prey today. But in any event, let's load up LMND and see if we can extract some profitability and maybe a trade or two on this. What is this? New York, right? Yeah, Lemonade's New York. Okay. So I'm displeased right away with the spread, but that's going to be kind of characteristic of this name. 10 penny spread immediately. It's coming into the 10 exponential. 37.25 is the 10 exponential right now. I want to see if it bounces here. If it doesn't hold up at the 10 exponential, I'm more inclined to take this short as an initial move into VWAP or the 20 exponential. If it does bounce off the 10 exponential, then I might be taking it long here. So I'm packing my patience. I don't have to trade this one like a small cap gapper because it's not, right? So it doesn't have the same characteristics, so it would behoove me to trade it in its own unique way. It's a $2.66 billion market cap, having done about 3.75 million shares traded on the day with about 51 million share float. Let's find out what the short float is. LMND. It's very big. About 32.6% of Lemonade's 50 some odd million shares are board for shorts, as we always do. Let's caveat that information by saying it could be up to 2 weeks old. So make of that what you will. We're just here to give you the information. You got to execute. So I'm keeping my eye on this bad boy. It's coming into that 10 awfully quickly, and if it gives up the 10, I'm looking short initially, Joseph, but I will be looking long, possibly at VWAP. What do you got over there, my man?
Yeah, I'm cooking up on the same stuff here, man. I'm waiting for this Mara to slowly break down. It may take a couple of tries, and that's okay. But one thing I want to point out is that if we start constructing these lower highs here, then I think I'm going to be in a good space. So if we have the inability to break this top right at 14 and we construct a lower high, then I think we're good for this short to kind of manifest and come into fruition here. So we'll hold off onto this. If we break this 1370, then I'm going to look for that next target around 13.5, and then the next target is going to be around 13.3. I think that this name can give up the majority of its gain that I put in. Sharif was saying something good about the numbers. I haven't quite read into the report yet, but I will do so later on today. I believe I'm going to, because there's a couple things. It was good, yeah, it's bangers. You know what I mean? So like, what does that mean for the Bitcoin space? And I'm pretty sure they've had half decent reports before, but it just can't get the ball rolling on this thing because of Bitcoin and just the cost of mining. So we'll dive a little bit more deeper into that because we'll talk about it tomorrow as well too. Because I know Bitcoin mining and Bitcoin is really big here in the chat. So we want to make sure we can provide you guys with as much information as possible. But yeah, that's going on with Mara here, and then we have NVDA as well too. We're hoping that this thing can get the ball rolling. If we can go back into the volume weighted average price, that would be absolutely fantastic. But as of right now, this consolidation phase is not looking overly promising. As you can see here, guys, we are constructing lower highs, so we have to be weary of that. Even though this is a higher low as well too, I just believe that the opening drive and the overall sentiment in this name is just too weak for it to just absolutely go parabolic to the top side, especially with that put and call wall there at 140. I'm going to talk about that a lot because I love how that really came into play. And then watching it last night, because I watched it until about 7:30, 8 o'clock last night. I'm like, okay, if we're going to get the ball rolling on Jensen's conference call at 7 p.m., then I think that we can push through that. But it just hasn't been the case. There's too many shares. There's too much liquidity up at that levels. 2NY had a very valid point, and I mentioned it as well too. We need to wait until this Friday's expiration. Tomorrow in NVDA earnings play day 2, I guess we can classify it as. I think it's going to be an absolute monster one, and I'm going to be looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Shout out to the OG Darwin calling this one out. LTRY, still light on volume. Lottery. What is it? Lottery.com. Federal court dismisses all claims against Lottery.com Incorporated and Matthew McCann, whatever, with prejudice. I don't know what with prejudice. I'm not 100% sure, but usually in Canada that means with costs against the party. So your claim is dismissed, but your charge costs because you acted badly in some way, somehow. So I'm not exactly sure. It's not doing a whole lot of volume quite yet. Volume still at 460,000, nor is it really breaking above yesterday's afternoon high there at $1.70. But, you know, maybe the algos pick this up one in a bit. Shout out to the OG Darwin for calling that out. Not one that we typically trade on here. It's about a $20 million market cap too, only up 4%. Still keeping my eye though on Lemonade. It's losing the 10 exponential, just got into 37s. So yeah, so the situation with this one was, I didn't end up shorting. And I'm feeling quite bad about that because I should have been shorting into 37. I just said, Sharif, it's up big. It's so directional. Don't get caught offside here getting short. That was a mistake. I could have extracted 50 pennies quick as you like on that and then looked long, just like I said I was. So I didn't follow my plan. I paid for it. Don't be like me, okay? So we're going to continue to watch here. It's still at, you know, generally that 37 area. It hasn't given up the ghost at 37. Might be defending it at the moment. I'll pack my patience. If we start bouncing off 37 and by extension of that, the 10 EMA on the 5, I'll get in. Shout out to the, I don't know who this was up here. Let me just, City Boy 305. Shout out to you. You're a new name. I don't know who you are, but you called out something that I like here. So shout out to you, my man. BCG. I don't know why this one didn't show up on my list, and it's still not showing up on my list. Oh, finally, it just made itself available there. Up nice, 90.5%, high day 390. It's having a lot of trouble, Joseph, with 375. It's wicked into 390. It's above VWAP. Obviously, it's above the pre-market high because it really just started spiking up there at 1105. This one is in play. I'm not seeing a headline on it. I don't know if Adara has anything. I'm looking for him yesterday. There's nothing from yesterday, nothing from the prior days. So I don't know what the hell this, why it's moving up. It's called Bena Capital Group, 57 million, market cap. Independent wealth management company, operates through Wentworth. Okay, I've heard about Wentworth Management Services. Remember that Wentworth, they buy your what's it called? your life insurance.
Oh, yeah?
If you want to sell your life insurance to get cash.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, JG Wentworth, something like that.
Is that JG? Yeah, oh yeah, the commercial.
Yeah,
the old
J-
commercial, VLJG Wentworth commercial.
I don't know if this is it or not. It sounds the same, Wentworth, so I'm not saying it is, but that's the look there. So keeping an eye on that, Joseph. Keeping an eye, obviously, on Lemonade. It's fighting for its life right now at 37 bucks. If it wants to hold up there, all the better. Let's see what else everybody's saying. Marty, with prejudice means they can never recharge him on those charges. Thank you. I didn't actually know that. American law is a little bit different. Thank you very much, my man. I do appreciate you letting me know that. Joseph Birch Music. BCG got caught in a flush early, was down $700 to $700. Was down. You were down $700. Scalp back to $30 down. That's fantastic, bro. What a recovery. Checking to see if it's going to break the high. 390 the high, Joseph, but you probably already know that because you're involved in it. Just letting everybody else know. Ike release, you mentioned BCG briefly when it was heading down. Well, it's still up, brother. It's up nicely here, 85%, holding above VWAP. I'm game if it wants to continue to trade at these levels. Ram, there's BCG right there above the white line, but certainly off the highs. JF Trader, 1877 cash now.
Yeah.
Called JG Wentworth. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've heard that commercial.
So long.
They're always
That one.
on BET, right?
Was it on BET?
Yeah,
BET,
pretty sure.
man. I haven't probably watched BET in over, how old am I now? Jeez, okay, well, yeah, probably 20 years.
Hey, Ram.
Yeah.
How you doing over there?
How's that Kit Kat doing?
She's not listening to us.
Yeah, that's all right, man.
That's okay.
We'll figure it out later.
Are we going to Adara?
We never got the,
Okay.
Are we going in there? I sent it off.
This girl.
Keep an eye here, and yeah, this BCG, I looked into Benoit Capital Group. I haven't found any news on them in the last 2 weeks, but it's worth noting there is a lot of social media attention for this name. Some people saying that they're running because BCG and CCG both are running. It could be like a pairs trade type thing. We know sometimes with small cap tickers, if the tickers sound similar or look similar, they'll run together for whatever reason. So that could be what's happening with the BCG, just given the mentions of CCG as well. So keep an eye on BCG and I guess CCG, which doesn't look like it's running too much here, guys. That's my quick social media deep dive into these small caps. Back to you.
Thank you,
Adara.
Yeah, thank you as always, Adara. You get one of those, especially for
Hey.
Eli Lilly. Okay, MU Trades. MU Trades. Hopefully you're listening to this. This is what I'm going to say. Look at this selling. Look at this waterfall type price action. Bang. That's it. Bang, bang, bang. But you know, in all seriousness, that's beautiful. Do I think about it for a long from an intraday perspective? Wait for this pullback. Maybe you get this VWAP retest and a hold of this resistance zone and the support zone here around 26. But don't chase it all the way this extended from the volume weighted average price, in my opinion. Unless you're an MA trader and you like the holds of the moving average, then you can probably just ride that as well too, because it seems relatively strong. But nice, beautiful waterfall type price action. And then these indecision candles is everything that I live for right here. Is these ones I told you with the likes of Walmart from a daily perspective and as well as Amazon. So you get this from an intraday perspective. I think that's absolutely gorgeous or absolutely beautiful, as Obi would like to say. This is exactly what I'm looking for. That's picture perfect A1, the epitome of the signals that we were wanting. But again, the volume wasn't the craziest on that name, but that's okay because that signal was so definitive at an extreme low that I think you'd be okay to eventually get in on the long there throughout the day. One thing that we are going to point out here, I think this might be the new dead one here, Sharif, and that's Google, that's Alphabet here.
Dang.
But the exact same thing. So if I pull up the Unity chart and then you pull up this Google chart, you can see that the relative strength in this name isn't as strong, right? Like if we zoom out here from a daily standpoint and see what we got going on, like look at this. This is horrible, okay? This is absolutely horrendous, Sharif. Down 18% off of the all-time highs. I don't know what you think about that, but in my opinion, that's correction territory. So, and this name is like, okay, like look at this. We know they got a lot of CapEx, AI spend going on, etc. When are they going to start turning a profit? I think that's the big question. But this was just a bunch of noise here. Didn't love any of this here, but now we're selling and we're going to run into some key zones, man. This is not looking good whatsoever. If we run into 169, like I don't know how much lower this thing can go, but as for Donald Sharif, I know you said that this guy's obsessed with the market. I wonder how he truly feels about what he's doing now with it, because I'm not overly happy with this guy right now either, because he's just with the threat of looming tariffs and everything that I got going on. But again, it's me putting money in there and having to realize, hey, nothing nothing is going to always be pretty sunshine, and the grass isn't always as green as you think it's going to be sometimes, but that's okay. Am I still in NVIDIA long? Yes, I am, Sir Mr. M, and we're going to pull that up right now because we're starting to get Mara to break down, and that's exactly what we want. Let me pull it up here for the people and see where we're going. Yeah, like I'm trading New Zealand. Okay, here we go. On Mara, yeah, so we're starting to break through some key support levels. I like this. 1350 could be a next potential target. Possible support zone running into right now around that 1362. We breach and head right into this mid-range. I'm going to start to look to take some profits on this. Let's see what NVDA is up to as well, too. Hopefully we can get a bounce on this. It's looking like it's heading towards the bottom of this zone, so that's not a pretty picture. Going to have to get out of it as we break some support levels.
All right, man. We're in BCG, in and out, back in, back out again. Let's go. Let's go into 93s. We're looking for the break. Oh.
Oh, no.
Fat finger moment. Took everything out. My mistake. Boo-boo on me. But we're doing well over here on the other one. LMND, about 30 pennies in the money or so. Looking to take out some at 33s. It's showing me 30s, so it'd be just fantastic if it could move down or up, excuse me, just a skosh. How many shares do we have on here? Okay, so what I can do is I can go like this. Let's see if we can get filled like that. Yeah, we do get a fill. Good. All right, so let this one cook. Let's see if we can get the fill a little bit higher. Okay, so let me just talk about what I did here. I made a mistake. What a fat finger is if you're a newer trader. I meant to take out a smaller amount of shares, and I ended up taking more shares out. So now I've taken out the entire lot, and I'm without shares. I'm shareless at the moment. The reason I want to be in shares is because you look what it's doing. It's about to take out $4 right now. BCG is on one. It's up 110%. It's got a bit of a flat top. I'd submit to you at about 375, 380. It did break through it. It hasn't been a breakthrough on a closing basis. Here we go. The traders are jumping into this. You can tell. Just look at the tape. Look how the tape is moving. Look how the book is moving. You don't even need to look at the volume bars to know that volume is coming into this one at an extremely high rate, higher than before. We're still only at 15.25 million shares, so that's not too much for a $3 name. So maybe the volume picks up a little bit more over here. I'm absolutely aces to get back into this one. Let's see if this one lets go. All right, we took almost everything out there. We got all our orders filled here on LMND, except the one that $2/3 of a dollar. We're long 88s. It's showing me 38s. I'm pleased as dang punch. I packed my patience with this one. It did breach the 10 exponential, but it was a quick wick. And now we have a higher low. Doesn't mean that we're going to move back up and take out 39s on LMND, but it puts the odds in my favor a little bit by having a bit of a buffer between myself, the current price action, and my entry. All right, here we go. Now we're showing 44s. I'm waiting at 63s or 62s, something like that. So it's going to have to clear the whole dollar level here for me to get printed. We got a couple of more outs on this bad boy. So just because we take out that 2/3, doesn't mean that we're done. 58's now showing up. I'm waiting in the low 60s, so hopefully we can get printed here. But it is a bit of a wider spread. 43 on the bid, 55s, 58s now on the ask. So it's going to have to cross for me to get the print. Wowzers, there goes BCG. And now we have the high day of $4. But there's a whole bunch of push and pull right now between buyers and sellers at this $4 area. What I'm looking at, guys, is a side chart over here. I chart differently. I got different indicators up on this bad boy. So excuse me if I'm looking back and forth between the screens. It's having trouble with 4, but my spidey sense tells me that this $4 level is going to get taken out quick as you like. Let's talk about some of the deets. BCG. It's a 3.43 million share float with a short float of 1.87%. Not much there, to be quite honest with you, but not bad. It's got a small float, so by its very nature, it can become quite parabolic just because supply is limited. The shares out there are limited. It's already done a 5 times float rotation, 16.6 million shares on 3.43 million share float. So what that means is it's basically cycled through the amount of shares available for trading already 4 times. 5 times. So you can just do the multiples there by dividing. So that is important. It's a metric that we talk about because it shows interest, market interest. If there's a lot of float rotation going on, it means a lot of participation, a lot of volume in the name. So keep that in mind. when we talk about that kind of stuff. 59's now showing up on Lemonade. I'm still waiting in the low 60s, and it's not going to print me quite yet, sadly, as the spread opens up a little bit here, Joseph. So I think I'm going to have to pack my patience.
Yeah, good look there. Okay, yeah, so ADH D zone, that's jokes, all right. I mean, I think you got the right idea there, right? Just like whatever you're looking to allocate to that asset, just start slowly averaging in, especially if you're looking for a longer term play on Google. I'm just totally not convinced that there's a bottom in this name yet or in the overall market. I mentioned that we're only down about 4 or 5%. So in my opinion, there's going to be some more downside. We are in that third year, which is usually a more choppy year, and we're heading towards the bottom of that range. Are we going to get that bounce this time? I don't think so after multiple touches. I think that we're going to go sub 500 on the Qs, and then what are we at on yeah, and then around probably 550 before we start looking to turn around. So we could end up into somewhat of a turbulent phase in this market here. So just be prepared for that, guys. Sit on some cash if you have the ability to, and then just slowly allocate into your positions. But here we go on NVDAs. We got stopped out here. There's no bouncing. I bought at the top of the range. Not a good idea here when you have a super weak stock like this one. And then something I usually don't do, I averaged in there, and then now we're just continuing to the south side. So yeah, a little bit tougher look there on NVDA. I'm going to avoid that one for a little while, guys, but we're getting the breakdown in Mara. Hopefully we can slowly start to capitulate and then head to about that 13. If we can get the bottom of this zone here, then I'm going to be more than happy with that. But as we start to pull back, I need to be weary. I'm not going to take any profits out yet just because I don't want to take some out and then get stopped out, break even. So what I'll do, I told you guys the game plan, and we're going to stick to it. If we break this here, then that means we're going to construct a new high off of that pivot, and that's not something that I was planning to hold on to. That's the game plan. Inability to construct a new high. Now we form a higher low and then see if we can go to the south side and hold on some. So that is the game plan on that, guys. If there's anything that you are looking at in the chat, feel free to let me know and we will go over it. I know someone asked about PLTR and some earnings. So yeah, we'll take a look at this name here. I want to see what, from a percentage metric as well too, what PLTR is down from those all-time highs, because I was talking about it a couple days in a row here, Sharif. It's just that overall market breadth is weak, and then you have these big names like Amazon, Google, and some other stocks that are down more than double digits. So is that slightly correction territory? Possibly. Maybe we got to go a little bit lower here, but that's okay. We're going to figure some things out and just take it from there. So what do we got going on? 31% off of those all-time highs. Palantir is down. So yeah, not the best look there. A little bit tough one. We are positive about 0.25% on this name in the session, but just look at these opening drives in the overall market here. If you're a 5-minute orb trader, then bang, look at that, just all the way flush to the south side.
What does that mean, Joseph?
5-minute orb?
Yeah.
5-minute opening range break.
Got it.
Yeah, 5-minute orb. So yeah, I guess I should clarify that a little bit. 5-minute opening range, and now that we're talking about it, Sharif, we'll dive a little bit more into it.
Good call.
Because yeah, there's some things that a lot of traders like to do. So you have the 1-minute opening range break traders, 3-minute, whatever it may be, whatever your time frame it is, but it's that opening drive. So when you see something that is relatively strong, what you want to do is play the break of the 5-minute candle, the 1-minute candle, or whatever, the 15-minute candle, whatever your preference is, right? Whatever time frame you like to use. So a lot of traders, okay, now this is the first 5-minute print here. We broke it to the top side. I'm going to enter at the break of the candle, whatever your system requires. A lot of people use the body, or you can use the wick, right? And then you look for the continuation in that trend. Does it always work? Absolutely not. Some things don't work. But then you can also use this 5-minute opening range to go to the south side as well too. So the break to the top side did not work, but now you can play a trade to the downside when it breaks, because now you have some key support levels. You have the pre-market range right here, and then you have this massive engulfing candle on the 5-minute, and if you play the break of that 5-minute wick to the downside, you set yourself up for a really good trade there. I used to trade the orbs quite often when I first started off. It's a good system. You just have to get really comfortable with it. Let's send it off to Adara and see what Neil's got for the lesson of the day.
We're gonna have a Neil lesson of the day once again here after a couple days without one. S&P 500 trying to bounce as of right now near this previous area of support, but generally here lower highs, flattish bottom or lower lows. Not a great look here for the S&P 500. NASDAQ looking pretty similar, even more bear flaggish here for that NASDAQ. Lots of small caps though to play with here. Sharif's been giving them to you over there. And IBIO I'm seeing popping up here now with an million share float, 5% short float, and about a 1.7 million shares traded on the day. So just under 2 million shares total volume so far today. We did have, of course, NVIDIA really ruling the day here with earnings, but there were other earnings plays as well. Snowflake, a lot of these earnings names pretty anemic. So we had this initial gaps up in the case of Snowflake and NVIDIA, now kind of languishing right now. CRM, another example of an earnings name. This one actually gapped up, kind of came up here to this 304 level, and right now drifting back lower. So it's really hard for a lot of these names to stay strong today in a market that certainly isn't. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe during the market recap show after the bell, Sean and myself, because there are a lot of earnings today, especially if you're a small cap or retail meme type trader. And I say that because we're going to get SoundHound. We're going to get Clover. And if you're looking at larger names, we're going to get Dell as well. So nice little balance of everything. Join Sean and myself at 4 p.m. Eastern for that market recap show. In the meantime, we're going to join Neil and his lesson of the day. What you got cooking over there, Neil?
Thank you very much, Adara. Yeah, Dell aftermarket, that should be some fireworks, especially with the market reversal that we had this morning. And I think, the lesson of the day, it's going to be a bit twofold. I'll get to the second part because I think it's an obvious one that makes sense because I wasn't feeling well earlier that I'm going to talk about. But the first is simply, we always talk about defining the style of trader you are, but Joe was talking about something which is very important. Whether you take opening range breaks, 5-minute, whatever it might be, you have to be a little bit wary when you've got a lot of stocks which have been making bounces, which have gap ups and reversals and potential breakouts when they're happening at the same time, right? So you get like a stock gapping higher and it's got an obvious resistance level over it like an NVIDIA did, and you could go down the line. I could show you AMD had something similar. You had a lot of names which were trying to take out that top, and then right away at the open, you're falling right through. That's where I think a lot of times you can talk about going reversal, whatever, but if you're looking for long trades, you've got to be very, very particular about your entry style, especially when you have multiple names which have just failed the top. There's going to be those bounce trades in there for sure, but you've got to know where to pick your battles. If you are a support and resistance trader, then you wait for the levels which are supposed to give you your bounces. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Certainly 129 did, 132 did not, 126 did. But if you look at this, there was nothing other than our support and resistance levels to work off of. So if you were support and resistance, you should have been able to eke out some wins on something like an NVIDIA. If you were a breakdown trader, great. I think you're doing absolutely fine. But just to give you another one in here, because we were talking about Mara, when you get things failing early breakouts, you've got to know when to get out of dodge. Like, what is your style of trade? My style of trade is a station-to-station trade. Lose support, get out. Don't fight it underneath. Like, take your money and be able to run. Know what your parameters are. Because I'll tell you right now, like some of those scalp trades in NVIDIA where I'm not holding it forever and I'm getting out with a tight stop, I'm not holding Mara forever. I'm taking it into first resistance, and when it does that, this actually marked the short sell because I had to take profit out when I punched out of position, so it said I was going short, which I was not, because I was aggressively getting out of this when it rejected that high. And you've got to do your own style. For me, that's what lets me be green this morning, is sort of having that really, really tight stop mentality, that really tight entry mentality. And the other side of it is be willing to switch gears, because, ultimately, I think sometimes you go from like support and resistance to, well, I don't have my levels to work off of. I thought Palantir could be like a breakout. Let's hold it through the top. When you start trending like this, it turns into, this is so much more volatile than I was anticipating. The only setup is going to be a mean reversion play, and you wait for it to get into the target zone, which was a very wide one, and simply break the trend. So we got a trend break there. But when we got to VWAP, I just went into a short. Because what's the next available trade here? It can't hold a bit above VWAP for me. I want to trade this name because I believe it's got a big move in it. And you get a quick dollar scalp on this stock just on one short trade, which happened way faster than any of our long bounce trades happen over here. So you've got to be able to know what style of trader you're going to be. But in that first 5-10 minutes, when you get false breaks, there's another example of a false break that high. If you're trying to go long on a false break, there's only two ways that it can work. One, you have a ridiculously good support and resistance level, which it actually shows a bounce at. NVIDIA had a couple, so you could get away with those. Or you get some kind of a capitulation bottom where it shows you in a support area that you've got a reversal candle and you can work into some longs. Outside of that, there were many moments today in the morning show where I was flat and not in any trades. And if I'm looking long in a day like today, then that's, I think, how it should be. Because if you're long the whole way in a morning like this, you basically just have to hope to get the bottom and that you're still in at that point. That's not a place that I want to be. And the second part of the lesson of the day here is simply, look, man, I've been under the weather the last couple of days. And one of the things you should know yourself. This morning, didn't feel compromised, got a good night's sleep, had a good night's sleep last night, feeling absolutely fine. But I can tell you right now, starting to hit a little bit of that wall. So I know I'm going to trade less this afternoon off the get-go. Been under the weather the last couple of sessions, starting to hit a little bit of that wall. You should know that about yourself as well. I know Obi talks about this a lot. I try to talk about this whenever the chance is. It's one thing, being tough. I'll come in, whatever, how I'm feeling. I love the markets. I'm going to make it happen. But if you know that you're a little bit slower, a little more compromised, you don't have to overtrade in that situation. You can pick your best spots. Only take the entries which require the least amount of, not analysis, that's the wrong word. The least amount of discretion, let's just put it that way. All those discretionary decisions. Well, I know when I take a mean reversion setup, it's very binary for me. I don't have to worry about working my entry. It's like this happens, I go long, and my stop goes in right there. Those are the types of trades I'll look for when I'm not feeling 100%, because I know it's hard for me to muck that up, given how binary the trade and the setup is going to be. So for myself, that's what I want to do at lunchtime in the afternoon. Just be very, very particular. One might be setting up here on Palantir for a trend reverse, but that's what I want to be doing in the second half of today. Be very particular with your trades. On days where you're against the grain, it's going to help you. On days where you're compromised, you're a little bit tired and not feeling that well, the days where you don't have the best read, it certainly will help. But that opening rush, if multiple stocks, going back to the first part of this, if multiple stocks are gapping up and failing a break of the high right at the open, if you're trying to go long into that after you've lost some of the bottom, you have to have a very particular plan for an entry into those stocks, whatever it might be. As long as you have a plan, it should be okay. But if you don't have one, you don't have to be long. Just because you wanted to dip buy, the environment could be vastly different once you see those highs all fail at the same time. You don't have to just be sitting on that bid and catching it bleed in. I have a couple of strategies I like. Sean has a couple of strategies he likes, and everyone's going to do their own thing. But if you don't have one, A, it gives you a chance to work on one that might work for you. But B, it also helps you save money if you're on the sidelines when looking long into a screaming down market. There is absolutely nothing wrong with taking a step back and waiting for that perfect setup, or taking a step back, wait until you feel better. So there's your lesson of the day. Good luck, everybody, for your trading the rest of this one. And we'll see if this NASDAQ can continue to hold that 21.
Thank you very much, Neil. Wise words as always, baby. Neil Roberts, every day around that noon hour, he's dropping his lesson of the day. Make sure to catch it. Thank you again, Neil. I want to cover this trade that I had on Lemonade. I'm proud of this trade. Show yourself, Lemonade. There we go. So this did dip into the 10 exponential. I picked it up there. We took a dollar banger there, so we're going to hit the dollar club for this one into that 38. We had it at around 36.75. We took everything out in the high 90s there, 37 high 90s. So good look there, but it is now putting in lower highs. High day, 38.68. The last little area crest breached 38 by a couple of shekels there to 38.20. So it's another lower high. I'll submit to you $38 there is the level. So be careful with this one if you're involved. Yeah, so I kept my eye on that one. I also had a trade on HIMS while Neil was dropping hot lines. We got in at the volume weighted average price at 44.20. I was able to scalp out there in the 75s. It's still doing the VWAP dance right now. I'm talking about HIMS. It keeps coming into the volume weighted average price, give or take, at around 44 bucks. Sometimes it does breach the level 44, but generally it is a $44 level. The problem, though, is that HIMS is putting in this rounded top. Remember that discussion on rounded bottoms? We said it was a bullish reversal pattern and it needed to be preceded by a downtrend. This is the exact opposite. preceded by an uptrend, and it's a rounded top. This one looks like it might want to give up the ghost at VWAP. It's not a, a done deal by any means. It's going to have to breach. It still hasn't breached, but I'm very much on the lookout here for HIMS to drop down big below VWAP. But let me just find out if this is a pay for shorts type situation. No, it is not. It is a free shorts on the best dang prop firm around these parts. It's called Real Trading, baby. Shout out to them. All right, so that's where we're at right now, in case you're wondering. The company that we're trading their money, it's called Real Trading. Best company around. Here's the deal. We're involved in a new trade now. Show yourself, new trade. There we go. ARIS. I'm about, 5 pennies in the money on this. Nothing to write home about. This is a VWAP hold here on AIRS. Sorry, not a VWAP hold, a $31 level hold. VWAP's at $30.55, so we're well above VWAP over here. But there's price action support. Have a look at this. 31 generally is holding on. I mean, it does breach it at times. Look over here. At 11 o'clock, it breached it, quickly got up above it. Again, at 11:52, breached it, quickly got above it. So I'm looking for that $31 level to hold. This one, though, is a volume. It's light on volume. Okay, I was going to make a joke, but it is light on volume. So be careful with this one, trading it, because, these ones that they lack volume, a big seller can come in, take out like a whole bunch of levels, and all of a sudden you're at 31.30, and this big seller comes in, and you find yourself at 30.80. So the point is, be careful with these low volume names. All right, I'm setting up here at 29s and then 42s. Are we going to Adara? Sorry, I wasn't plugged in.
Yeah, we're going to
We
Adara.
are? Okay,
yeah.
get it, Adara.
Breaking news on mRNA. Chamath Palihapitiya, in case you aren't aware of him, he is actually one of the co-hosts of the All In podcast. Also, one of the members of which is actually part of Trump's team, as it's AI and crypto czar David Sachs. Regardless, Chamath Palihapitiya posting here, or I guess reposting an article from, or this post looks like it's from a week ago now, but about the possibility of mRNA vaccines for curing pancreatic cancer. Chamath's caption was, "This could be a huge breakthrough for pancreatic cancer. Wow." Now, to be clear, again, this is an older post, but he just reposted it 2 minutes ago, and mRNA getting a lot of volume here. So mRNA on watch after a well-known investor reposted an article from a week ago about a potential pancreatic cancer treatment. Very long-winded catalyst, but mRNA reacting nonetheless. Back to you.
Yeah, I was talking to the Katina man there, and we have our own opinions about that whole thing. Shout out to him. I hope he does quite well. What are your thoughts on that?
Who's it? You guys
Chamath Palihapitiya?
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, he's the guy. Okay, well, I'll tell you who he is. He's one of the 4 hosts on the All In podcast. He's the Indian guy.
Okay,
he's Canadian.
Oh, is
so
he?
He's from Ottawa. Originally graduated Waterloo Engineering, went down south, was part of the Zuck team when Meta was first coming up. So he kind of made his money there with Meta, and now he's a billionaire, and he does like these,
He's doing his thing there.
He's doing his thing pretty fine,
all right. So that's good.
We're gonna be having Mr. Wonderful on. When, Katina, man? Any day? Probably a couple of weeks. We're going to have Mr. Wonderful back on. We'll be asking him all sorts of questions about crypto and everything else.
Yeah, I would love to hear what. I remember I was here last year. I just started on the floor actually when I seen Kevin walk in, and so it'd be good to maybe ask him a question or two. Yeah, but here we go, guys.